how does Natasha and Marshmallow feel about being surrounded by a bad boy?
Well, I mean, Marshmallow's right here, and Tasha's over there, so
There she
you want
is.
to ask him yourself. No, I don't think that they care too much, and I wouldn't necessarily say that we're the bad boys. I mean, I'm probably the good guy of the group.
Very
We
much
said
so.
that.
But yeah, I mean, I really like the team that I'm on, and you know, I think we have one of the most talented group of guys. So I think you know, we have a really good chance of doing well in the league.
Let's talk about one of your favorite teams, the Miami Heat, NBA playoffs starting on the weekend. What's your first round prediction?
Man, did you see that game last night? That was so brutal.
Yeah,
They
very brutal.
they had like a 25-point lead at half, and I think they would have locked up the 3 seed. I don't even know what their seeding is now that they lost. I knew that they were going to be the 3 and face Boston, so I'm not even sure who they play. I haven't even looked at it yet, but I mean, I think they have a decent chance to go fairly far. The East is pretty weak, and I mean, if they match up against Toronto in the second round, you know, assuming they win the first, I think they have a decent chance of actually going to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavs. So,
Are you playing much more poker this evening?
I probably am. I have to make a decision on either playing cash. I missed the 2K. There's a 2K no limit tournament at Hard Rock, which I missed to play my GPL match. But there's cash games going at Hard Rock, and then I actually have a men's league basketball game that I could play. So I have to decide between one of those two things.
Well, best of luck, whichever you decide, and we hope to see you back on our Skype wall and doing well at the GPL very, very soon. Thank you very much. Jason Mercier from the New York Rounders.
See you guys later.
Bye. There he was, Jason Mercier and New York Rounders. 3 out of 3 against Phil Galfond from the San Francisco Rush. Epic to watch too. Our commentators didn't have to do any work. It was amazing.
This was a spectacular match. I think it came as advertised, and two of the best players in the world facing each other. A shocker that we've seen 2 straight sweeps. Will we have a third one? That doesn't bode well for Jonathan Duhamel.
Poor Randy Lou has just been put right in the shadows, hasn't he?
That's right. Sam Trickett has destroyed Randy Lou forever.
Yeah.
You know.
But coming up, we have one more very exciting match for you as well. That will be Jonathan Duhamel. I'm really excited to watch.
Be a big match against Olivier Busquet, the heads-up legend.
We're going to take a look. We're not going to take a look at the standings. We're going to go back to the desk right now. We're going to join Sam and Griffin once more. There you go. You got to look at the standings.
So the quick standings.
It's okay. We're prettier than the standings anyway. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. That was the second sweep of the day. Back-to-back sweeps. Jason Mercier coming in there, taking on Phil Galfond, the legend, OMG Clay Aiken, taking him down 9 points. Huge 9 points for the New York Rounders. What did you like about the match?
Yeah, fantastic. Bragging rights going to Jason.
And the Rounders love bragging rights.
Yeah, of course. And he must be super pleased himself. I mean, he knows the talent of someone like Phil Galfond. Obviously, Jason's someone that's achieved it all in poker, but that was his debut in the GPL. And what a way to kick things off. 9 points on the board, and Phil's going to have to wait for another day to even make any impact on the standings.
Yeah, you know, Jason Mercier is such a competitive guy, and obviously we're super early into the season. This is only day 6. This is only the second week. But you know, when you start to talk about a potential MVP, this is a great start for a guy like Mercier. Right out the gate, no losses, 9 maximum points, and he's someone that will definitely, you know, be the kind of freaking, you know, LeBron James or what have you, or Steph Curry, the guy that's going to be fighting to be the biggest player of the first season of the GPL. Great start for Jason. And we're going to take a look at the very important hand that we broke down, in detail. The final hand, the King 9, the Queen 7, the one that really sealed it for Jason Mercier.
Yeah, and I think this is an indication of Jason's sort of live poker background. I don't think you're going to see someone like Busquet pick a hand like an offsuit queen to 3-bet with. And that's what makes actually Jason a little bit more difficult to play against, because I don't think when Phil's trying to imagine Jason's range that he's going to pick to 3-bet, that he's going to pick this kind of hand. So, you know, when it does come queen high, some players are going to have way less queen X than Jason is if he's sort of randomizing his decision based on his feeling at the time. So here we go. Unfortunate situation. Jason flops queen high, flops top pair with a 7 kicker. And for those of you guys a little bit newer to poker, you'll see how excited he was. He's not worried about his 7 kicker at this stack depth. Obviously, for professionals, they know that. But with 3 times pot behind, a 3-bet pot, this is a very, very strong holding. Phil, on the other hand, flopping second pair, can't be quite as excited.
Yeah, not the flop that you know, he wants to see when Mercier has a hand like a queen, but obviously he felt good about the flop. You know, and the problem with the turn card, as you'll see, I believe it becomes the 5 of clubs, is that there's so many different combinations of hands when Jason Mercier has bluffs in his range pre-flop, as well as, like, you know, a hand like maybe ace king suited, like ace jack of clubs. These are hands that he's also going to be shoving in the turn. We listened, we had some insight into the thought process of Clay Aiken, where he was talking about the kind of hands that he could shove on the turn: 4-6, ace deuce, ace 4. You know, if you'd 3-bet a hand like, you know, 10-7 of clubs, 10-8 of clubs, there's so many combinations of hands that Mercier will shove here on the turn that Phil Galfond, despite only having second pair, was still ahead of and would need to hold. Unfortunately, you know, once he got through the thought process, he got to the point where to call, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, Phil, generous enough to break down his thoughts for us. Doesn't block any of those straight draws. He pointed out that Jason's not going to have hands like Jack 10 necessarily. That's going to be a hand he's going to peel with. But 6-7, you can see, has got a double gut shot. Obviously, he doesn't block any of the flush draw combinations. The 9 of clubs, which he has, is the second pair, which is not a hand Jason's going to shove. And I mean, look at the video here on the bottom of your screen. The contrast: Jason Mercier lying back in his chair, loving life. Phil absolutely distraught, having to make this very, very difficult decision against a real top opponent. Not the sort of thing you want to find yourself in.
And probably the best celebration, winning celebration so far in the Global Poker League. Marshmallow getting involved. I'm sure he will be a mainstay on a lot of the time when we have Mercier on that webcam. Great to see, you know, people's players' dogs, you know, their spouses, their friends. You know, you really get an insight into their life. Unfortunately for Phil Galfond, even though we saw that he lives in a palace, right now he wasn't able to score any points for the San Francisco Rush, and a bit of a slow start for the Rush overall, but a team that has so much depth and so much talent. You guys got introduced to Kitty Kuo the other day in the 6-max match. She obviously played excellently and was able to get a fair bit of points for the Rush. But again, there's a lot of players we haven't seen yet. This is only week 2. We haven't seen the likes of Faraz Jaka, and so that's a team that, you know, you're definitely gonna have to look out for in the future. Right now, a bit of a slow start. Let's head to the lounge where Eric Denny and Laura Cornelius are going to give us a breakdown of the standings so far here through almost 6 days.
Well, thank you so very much. Well, the New York Rounders needed those 9 points really after Kevin McPhee failed to make any points in the 6-max on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think when that happens, the best thing you do is you put Jason Mercier in a match and hope for the best. It was against Phil Galfond, but still 9 points. The New York Rounders are going to be very happy with that. I think you're going to get a call from Bryn Kenny. Jason Mercier will get that call very soon.
As the boys said, Jason Mercier, extremely competitive. And you know, if anyone wants to win, he really does.
Yeah, and you know, a very confident man as well for a guy that says that heads up no limit hold'em is probably his worst game, while he's pretty destroyed one of the best heads up players in the world.
But it's my worst.
Yeah, that's a classic Mercier, and again, very confident guy, and that's what we want, right? And that's perfect for that. So good for him on a very good, very big victory for the team.
Right, let's take a look at the Americas Conference standings as they are right now after that matchup with the San Francisco Rush and the New York Rounders. So San Francisco Rush all the way there down the bottom with the Sao Paulo Mets.
That's right. They're actually very lucky that Sao Paulo was also shut out, because if not, they'd be in trouble in last position. I think Montreal might be the most disappointed team by seeing Mercier pick up all those 9 points. They thought they'd have a little breathing room at the top at the end of the night, and they won't. So 4-point difference now.
Still 4 points, clear. It's not bad.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens in the next 6-max match on Tuesday. Las Vegas and LA have yet to play, so this could be big for both of those teams.
This could see Vegas up to second.
Right.
Just. if
Right.
they manage to make a clean sweep.
And if either of the team sweeps, either of them sweep, then they move up to second, as you just said. So it'll be interesting to see. I doubt that we'll have 3 straight sweeps. If your
You
logic
never know.
dictates, if you're going by logic, you'd think that Duhamel would be really behind in this match. So
You're playing Busquet, yeah.
That's right, if you're playing Busquet, so we'll have to
It's
see.
an ambitious statement.
That's right. But if the 2010 WSOP main event champion has told us or showed us is that he likes to win poker tournaments. So we'll see what happens. The big battle between Duhamel and Busquet.
And that is the match that's coming up next here on the GPL. Duhamel for the Las Vegas Moneymakers versus Busquet for the LA Sunset. It's coming up. There it is. It's match 20, and it will be on Eastern Time, 6 p.m. That is midnight Central European Time. Both smiling in that picture. Don't
Well-
normally see poker players smiling in their photos, do you?
Well, to be honest, Laura, they've had a good life.
Yeah,
Both
they
of them
can
have had a pretty good time in their lives. Both multi-millionaire winners on tour, so both live and online. Duhamel actually has made a few dollars online as well. Busquet, world-renowned as being an online genius, and Busquet, of course, winning that WPT title and having several deep runs in high roller events on the EPT. Those are always very profitable as well. So he's had both had a pretty good life so far.
Well, during that last match, we had some great tweets in. Quite a lot from Natasha Barber, in fact. There she is, Jason Mercier's girlfriend. It's these two again, Phil Galfond, Jason Mercier. If you're not watching, you're missing out. And a picture of Jason next to her. And Marshmallow, how cute is that? Is Marshmallow a girl or a boy?
It's a dog. I don't know.
Yes, but-
Natasha, by the way, let's not forget, Natasha also a very accomplished poker player, the
Yes.
top-ranked poker player from Lebanon at the moment. So good for her being at the top of the Lebanese rankings.
Indeed. And then another one from Natasha. You got this, Marshmallow. I think because Jason had departed from the webcam at that point. So
Marshmallow
Marshmallow
took over.
taking over. Yeah.
We'll have to check the rules if that's allowed. We'll have to check if that's permitted.
Probably delivering the blow as well. This is from Jamie Kerstetter. Crouton, the name of her dog,
Yes.
looks like what type of dog's that? Is it a Jack Russell maybe?
I don't believe so. I
Crouton
forget
told
what it
me
is.
to wake him up when Marshy is back in the game.
It's dog on dog.
This is
loving,
like a whole
beautiful
new
game.
thing, dogs playing poker.
That's right. Actually, it's an old thing.
Why
Laura.
didn't we
Remember
do
that
the
painting?
Global Poker Canine League too?
I'm not going to comment.
No?
No.
Any more tweets? Yes. Kirsty Ellen Buttle says, watching legends Phil Galfond and Jason Mercier playing for the GPL. These two are seriously at another level. I will agree.
Right. You tend to understand your place in the poker life when you hear these two guys speak. It was so good that we actually had our sound guy.
Yeah,
text
he was
just
mixing
going,
it, wasn't he?
It was really a challenge in this match. Both giving us
Hardest
some,
work he'd done all day.
Yeah, and giving us some great commentary by both players.
Is that it for our tweets? Indeed, that's it. But if you have any tweets, get them into us. Follow us at GPL. You can use the hashtag GPL as well. As we say, another wonderful match coming up for you. Olivier Busquet playing for the LA Sunset versus Jonathan Duhamel for the Las Vegas Moneymakers. It's coming up at Eastern Time, 6 p.m. That is midnight Central European Time. Please do join us and we will see you back there then.
Can't get enough of the GPL? Head over to globalpokerleague.com for the most complete and up-to-date standings, schedule, stats, and information on your favorite team, as well as full-length match replays, highlights, and epic hands from all of our matches, and much, much more.
12 teams representing some of the biggest cities around the world. 72 of the world's most talented poker players with over $350 million in combined lifetime earnings will put everything on the line over 8 months to compete for the title of the first ever GPL World Champions. Which team has what it takes? The Global Poker League starts now.
It does indeed. In fact, it started already. Welcome to the Global Poker League. I'm Laura Cornelius, joined by Eric Danny, the GPL insider. Tonight is all about America's conference heads up. And we've seen 2 out of 3 matchups so far. And what an epic 2 out of 3 games they've been.
Yeah, we've seen some great action. 2 sweeps, yet we seem to have enjoyed the action. There was in no way a domination in any of our 2 matches. Already today, we saw Pascal Lefrançois win 3 straight for Montreal over Sao Paulo, over Thiago Nishiyama of Sao Paulo, followed by the main event, probably the match of the year so far in the GPL. Jason Mercier and the New York Rounders picking up all 9 points against the amazing Philip Galfond of the San Francisco Rush. That's twice now that San Francisco's been shut out in league play. So, you know, a little tough go for the big team. And again, expecting Galfond to pick up at least some points given his pedigree. Not totally his fault. The cards just didn't fall his way. And when Jason Mercier is that hot, it's hard to beat.
I wonder if he's actually annoyed.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
He didn't seem that. He seemed okay. Although I did notice in the 3rd game of the matchup, he was a lot quieter than he was in that first one.
Yes, you're right. and Mercier kept on getting louder and louder as the match went on. So it was kind of funny. But Galfond is a type. He's such a great guy. You know, he's not the type to just let it all out. But I'm sure internally he's very upset. And I'm sure there's already been a call placed to Faraz Jaka wanting to jump back into the GPL as soon as possible. We've already been, tweet went out that Faraz Jaka and Jonathan Jaffe will be playing next week, so Galfond might have to wait another week.
In fact, next week will be the week for some of the GPL managers to start playing. Max Pescatori also very excited to get the managers playing. And I think it's going to be an interesting thing watching them play against each other because they're not more invested, but they've been around it a bit longer, haven't they? It's sunk into them a bit more.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen, and we've talked about this before, that the managers wanted their team players to play first, to let them go out, and now, you know, it's now time for them to jump in the pool. I think they've liked what they've seen too. It's been so much fun. A lot of the matches have been fun, so the managers want to get into it as well.
And coming up, of course, Olivier Busquet, who is undoubtedly one of the best heads-up players in the world.
Right, but he is facing the 2010 main event, WSOP main event champion, Jonathan Duhamel, coming off a year where he's run 2 other bracelets, so now 3 bracelets, the winningest player in the Moneymaker era as it comes to WSOP main event champions. Some similarities between the two. One has, I guess, three titles at the WSOP level. Busquet, a WPT champion, an EPT high roller champion. So they've both won big events. They were both former world number 5s on the GPI World Poker Rankings. And both of them, their first ever cash was at the Turning Stone Casino near Syracuse, New York. So, you know, both had to go away from home to get that first cash.
You're so good at these stats, Eric. I'm jealous.
I have no life, Laura, and that's how I try to find all that great stuff.
I noticed, though, Duhamel around 40 in the world rankings and Busquet around 80 in the world rankings.
Right, 80 for Busquet and 45 for Duhamel right now. Both former world number 5s have both taken a little stumble, although, you know, maybe not, especially Busquet has not been around on the circuit as much as he's been in the years past.
But Duhamel, what would you say his speciality was when it came to poker?
Winning the main event, that's his specialty. No, I really do think that Duhamel has really become an all-around player since winning the main event. He's played a lot of mixed games. He won final table, the 50K Poker Players Championship at the WSOP. Heads up, online, no limit, that's probably not his specialty. And
he
he's
should be
facing
playing
the guy.
for the Rounders.
That's right.
Because he's an all-rounder.
That's right. But he is playing the guy that pretty much wrote the book. Oh, we got laughs in the studio for that fantastic joke. But I mean, Busquet is one of the persons that has written the book of how to play heads-up online poker. So, you know, it might be a little tough situation for Jonathan. I think definitely the underdog in this match. But if the cards play well, we've already seen one Quebecer, you know, master the art of no limit hold'em's heads-up competition in Lefrançois today. So why not another sweep from Quebec?
He won the one-drop high roller Just recently as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
He's
which was a
doing pretty
huge
well.
score.
Yeah, he's won the 100, and then a few months after won the WSOP Europe High Rollers. So, yeah, it's been a very good year for Jonathan Duhamel.
Well, that match coming up very, very shortly. We're going to head straight to the desk for a little bit of analysis now. Sam and Griffin, over to you.
Thanks, Laura. He's Sam Grafton. I'm Friggin Benger. We're here at the Global Poker League, day 6. Really excited for the action that we got coming in.
Yeah, of course. Exciting matchup. Olivier Busquet, one of the highlights of the first week of GPL, really put a clinic on of heads-up poker, and it's going to be exciting to see him in action again against the 2010 main event champion.
Yeah, like you said, we saw, obviously, Liv B, as he is known online, last week when he played against the very dangerous Darren Elias and really showed what a masterclass performer he can be, especially on this stage and in this format, heads up. And I really think that's the intention of Maria Ho and the LA Sunset, is to toss him out into the heads-up fires. He's the guy that she's going to want every step of the way in that format. And again, 6 matches over the course of the season for him. We're at the end of week 2. He's already been thrown into the heads-up format twice, and he got the 6 points, 2 wins against Darren Elias last week, and he's going to look to do even better and perhaps get this a full sweep day. It'll be sweep day here at the GPL on day 6.
Yeah, it seems like Maria Ho picked Olivier specifically because of his heads-up skill set. Not
and
only
his good looks. I mean, we're trying to market these people.
Yeah, not only because of what he can bring in terms of putting points on the board himself, but also coaching. You can imagine him talking with other members of the team, Aaron Paul, who's now been drafted as well. He'll be able to convey some of his knowledge onto the rest of the team, and that's going to be very powerful for the LA Sunset and put them in prime position to make an impact in the America Conference.
Yeah, obviously an incredible pedigree from his online background. Liv B, very famous for all his talents, and yeah, just exciting to see. I mean, he's a very insightful guy too. He does a lot of podcasts and the like, so really interesting.
Yeah, he's someone who's completely comfortable in this format. He's going to know his frequencies really well, when to 3-bet, what hands to defend with, what hands to probe, flops and turns with. He's a real specialist. And, Jonathan Duhamel is going to have his work cut out today.
For sure. I'm sorry about that, guys. We have a lot on Duhamel as well here. Obviously, number 41 in the GPI rank, earnings of nearly $20 million. It's amazing that it's so much money you can almost just round up to 20 million. 83 wins, 10% of the time. 83 results, about just under 10% of the time he gets a win there. First result in August of 2006, but none bigger than his World Series main event win.
Yeah, of course. And although he's the 2010 main event champion, by no means yesterday's man. As Eric mentioned, 2 massive scores in 2015, taking down the one-drop high roller, putting his name alongside people like Dan Coleman and Tony Gregg, and then the high roller in WSOP Europe as well. So an incredible pedigree. And again, going to be one of those cases, yet again, contrasting styles. Someone with an internet background, someone who has made their money and made their mark in the live tournament scene. So real clash of styles, being going to be great to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, and Olivier was, he's very expressive in his first match, was happy to interact, with the fans and the viewers at home. Jonathan Duhamel, obviously, representing the Las Vegas Moneymakers. A lot of controversy in the draft. A lot of people were expecting him to go to the Montreal Nationals. You'll notice when he is talking, he's got that thick French-Canadian accent. But he's someone who obviously, hopefully, will show some of his insight. We did see him last week playing in the 6-max format, but this time around, we're going to have him on the webcam, and hopefully we'll be able to hear his thoughts and really get inside the mind of a champion, of not just, the World Series main champion, not just the one-drop champion. I mean, World Series of Poker Europe high roller champion. This guy just knows how to get the job done, and it's going to be a tough opponent in Olivier Busquet today for sure.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, we don't know how Duhamel will respond to the webcam. Hopefully, he will share some of his thoughts with us, but it's going to be a treat. And I'm sure one of the reasons a lot of people will have tuned in today is because Busquet, a very articulate individual on a wide variety of topics, someone I love to follow on Twitter and read the articles and posts that he makes. Obviously, been very vocal about his feelings about the GPL as well. And he certainly will be sharing some of his thoughts about poker and a variety of things using a webcam. So that's a big big draw for today's match as well.
Yeah, and Duhamel is a really important player and figure within the Las Vegas Moneymakers, I feel like, because, again, they had a very interesting kind of weird draft. Chris Moneymaker deciding to go with guys like, Scott Ball and someone who, it's someone who's not coming from professional poker standing. And so, Jay Cody is obviously a superstar, but Duhamel is also just, those are the two kind of mainstay guys that are going to be the real, firepower of this team. Obviously, Anthony Zinno with a great performance last week, but those two in particular are really the guys that have had a great success for a long time when it comes to tournaments. So Duhamel needs to make an impression now and try to get 6 to 9 points against Olivier Busquet.
Yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, I've made a few jokes about them being the LOL live pros. They have put together some of the biggest names in poker. They have millions of dollars in tournament winnings. Moneymaker himself is perhaps the biggest icon produced by the poker boom. And you're right there, bro. And,
yeah, just a little suit
but
situation.
This is a particular format that we're dealing with, and it's a very punishing, very exposing format. You saw even someone like Jason Mercier, who does have a strong theoretical background, struggling with his ranges as the blinds move up so quickly. Because, just as you're adjusting to your opponent at 50 big blinds, up go the blinds, now we're down to 30, and you need a whole new strategy. Olivier Busquet, someone that is completely used to that. Whether Scott Ball, Jake Cody, Chris Moneymaker himself will be as adept at making those adjustments and, will do the work off the table to be prepared to take on these guys, I can't say. I know that Olivier Busquet is prepared and will be a formidable force in the GPL.
Yeah, and a part of me would have liked to have seen, maybe someone like Jake Cody to go up against Olivier Busquet, but maybe he's just saying, you know what, this is one of my other heavy hitters. Let's throw him out there. Let's see what happens. And again, the other thing to consider that I feel like a lot of people don't realize is that Jonathan Duhamel does come from a cash game background. This is a guy that really cut his teeth on the six max, the six max online, and I'm sure a bunch heads up. So he does have a lot of experience in shorthanded games, and I feel like that's sort of the direction that Chris Moneymaker wanted to go in.
I agree. I mean, I'm perfectly prepared to be wrong. Jonathan Duhamel, especially as he's coming out of, we spoke about the strength of poker in Quebec.
Yeah.
He, spends time with an incredible brain trust of French Canadians, people like Pascal Lafrancois. And so, he will have done some work. And don't get me wrong, he could come out today, completely surprise me, and put Olivier Busquet in a really tough spot. I would love to see that happen.
We're going to get to the action really, really quickly, guys. So again, you talk a lot about Olivier Busquet. For those of you who aren't familiar at home, he has a huge pedigree within poker. The full tilt poker, the tournament success, the heads-up background. He's someone that's always been a threat. Whenever he's been on the tour, like you said, a WPT champion, a lot of success at the EPT. As a matter of fact, the first EPT I ever went to, a really random one by the way, EPT Campione. I believe that he got second place at that event, and I remember being sort of in awe of this guy. So even for someone like me who's been around for 5-6 years, this is a guy that was a hero of mine, very early on in my poker career. So to see him now here at the GPL and to see him competing this and realize, wow, I beat him to being washed up. I'm on the air. so it's fun to see. I mean, again, there's so many things that make this guy interesting. We're talking about the MMA fight. We talk about, so many different things, all the podcasts he does, all his sincere thoughts. So really two interesting characters.
Of course. I mean, that's one of the things about the GPL. We encourage people who are following this broadcast and this developing league, follow these guys on Twitter. Obviously, so many of them do have interesting backgrounds, interesting backstories. And Busquet is one of those with, the GPL is not the main focus of this guy's life at the moment. The main focus of this guy's life is getting himself absolutely fighting fit to take place in, to compete in a mixed martial arts fight with hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line.
Yep.
So, that's an amazing backstory. It's just we're focusing on the heads up because that's obviously the format we're offering. And we'd probably have more viewers if we were offering MMA.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The UFC is obviously very popular. Are we going to get to the match soon? Do we have it ready to go?
Yeah, I think we're having a few technical difficulties with the camera, but I think we're going to, in fact,
because I don't want them to get too sick of us, Sam. They're going to have to put up with us all season.
We're going to just calm down, Agro. We're going to start the heads-up match without the cameras, but do stay with us. Those cameras will be introduced as the match continues. I'm assured by my producers.
So yeah, when did you meet Olivier Busquet first? When did you meet Jonathan Duhamel?
I've never met any of these guys. Mate, I don't go Campione, mate. I'm in a basement in London.
That's a beautiful spot.
Grinding $20 tournaments, mate. I mean, there's no Dancing with the Stars like there is for you, bruv. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Duhamel, obviously a very fun guy. You know, a lot of I've spent a lot of time with him on tour with all the French Canadians. You know, a little bit of a, like Leafs versus Canadiens rivalry. If you're a hockey fan out there, so yeah, it was weird that he did not get selected by the Montreal Nationals. Obviously, everyone expected him to be their second round pick. If you're not familiar with the draft, guys, it happened a few months ago, back in February. First overall pick was Mustafa Kaneda of the Rome Emperors. Mike McDonald went second to the Montreal Nationals, and then on the way back, everyone was like, okay, Duhamel is a slam dunk, and eventually Chris Moneymaker decided to make the big upset and draft him, and he's one of the stalwarts of the Las Vegas Moneymakers. And here we go, guys. There's Liv B. There's John. Let's get the cards in the air.
Yeah, we will be taking the lead here to begin with and talking you guys through the action. But as I say, we are endeavouring to bring these two superstars of the game to you via their web cameras. That obviously is the way we want these GPL matches to go. And Busquet, obviously with a strong holding out of the gate. Picking big bet sizing when Duhamel checks back in position there. Busquet comes to the turn, obviously with his entire defending range, hands as weak as sort of 4 high. So because he's got so many bluffs, he can pick a big sizing there. If you're joining us, expecting to see Olivier Busquet and Jonathan Duhamel on the web camera, do stay with us. Hopefully we will get that at some point for you. Yeah, and you can see here, this is what I'm talking about in terms of Busquet's strategies. He's going to want to bet the majority of his 7s on 4, 5, 6. So he takes one of his strongest ones, one that can win at showdown, A7, and checks it back.
That is a disaster for Jonathan Duhamel right here.
And as my colleague comes in, yeah, both of them turning us straight. Obviously, something you guys a bit newer to poker, learning from these guys. Checking can, in some instances, be a powerful choice and lead to great outcomes, as it does here for Busquet. Straight over straight. And you'd expect Duhamel to check the river, and Busquet is going to put in a bet for value. And the question... Oh, wow, he checked back. It's really interesting.
That's a bit weird, yeah?
Wow. I mean...
I must know. You know what? That was no. He would never check back there. I think that was an issue with sometimes in the software we've seen a few different times. People have been like snap folding on the button and stuff like that. It's definitely
really
an error. There's no way he would check back.
He wouldn't snap check, yeah?
No, of course not. It was obviously an error. These things have happened a couple times. There haven't been too many big, situations where it's been a factor. We saw Vladimir Troyanovsky snap folding the Jack-8 offsuit yesterday on the button early on, and he was like, what was that about? So again, guys, these are just some little growing pains. Obviously, not the biggest deal there, but it's really unfortunate that one of the first hands was such a cooler, and then Olivier Busquet, sort of the bad side of that kind of variance there.
You feel confident saying, you feel 100% confident saying
100% confident, yeah.
Okay. We will get these technical difficulties sorted for you. If you're just joining us, this is Jonathan Duhamel, World Series of Poker main event champion, versus Olivier Busquet, heads-up specialist. Busquet representing the LA Sunset, Duhamel, the Las Vegas Moneymakers. Earlier in the day, we saw Pascal Lefrancois of the Montreal Nationals win all 3 matches against Thiago Nishijima of the Sao Paulo Metropolitans, securing a full 9 points for his franchise. And then in one of the biggest occasions we've hosted here at GPL, we had the privilege of witnessing Phil Galfond against Jason Mercier. And although 2 of the most talented poker players in the world, very evenly matched, Jason Mercier absolutely crushed Galfond in terms of points accumulated, securing all 3 wins and 9 points for his franchise, the New York Rounders. And Duhamel c-betting a very weak holding. He has more Ace X, well, the stronger Ace X, after Busquet doesn't 3-bet. Busquet would 3-bet hands like Ace King and Ace Queen, so he doesn't have those in his range. So he can c-bet at a very high frequency. When I say c-bet, I mean continue as the pre-flop aggressor, and very odd choice of hand to barrel here. He's going to have a lot of deuces, fives, gut shots, flush draws that he can bet twice here as a bluff, and really strange to see him bet the 7-9. Really interesting strategic choice from Duhamel. Rivers 2-pair and gives up. And I wish we had Busquet on comms, because I think he would be pretty vocal about what he thinks of that strategic choice. Pretty unconventional stuff from Duhamel. Very aggressive poker player. Again, you know, those of you more casual poker fans, you'll notice that these great players, like Olivier Busquet, it's not always just by overpowering their opponents that makes them so good. Here, Busquet checking back his weakest jack on the flop and turn, keeping in the weakest parts of Duhamel's range, and now has a clear and easy bet for value on the river. And he's off to an excellent start. If you're a regular with us at the GPL, you'll have be prepared for these fast blind structures, but it is very aggressive. The blind's going up very quickly. Really suits someone like Olivier, who has, we keep reiterating it, a speciality in this particular format.
Really interesting flop here for Duhamel, flopping the gut shot, the king of spades backdoor, and mid pair for Olivier.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is every time when he puts in that bet on the flop, he just strengthens Busquet's range so much so that king high can never ever be good, and that's one of the problems with taking this combo to bet. I mean, you could definitely.
You also don't want to get check raised. You're hoping
yeah,
to just hit a 7 or another spade.
Yeah, I think
it becomes a bit difficult. You like checking back this texture?
Yeah, I think Duhamel looks like he's someone who's going to see bet at a very high frequency. One of the things you saw with Phil Galfond in the last match is so comfortable checking back, like, you know, at a much greater frequency than a lot of the players we've seen. And Duhamel a bit left in no man's land now. Yeah, and look how quickly Busquet looks him up. Obviously, he's got that jack blocker to the nuts. Duhamel, the story not really making sense there, that he's just rivered a random queen. And Busquet snap calling, and a really strong start here from Olivier Busquet, something we did, of course, predict. Not that it's always gone exactly to plan. We've seen some big upsets. As we said, this structure is so fast and so aggressive that you know, a lot of it does come down to card distribution and, you know, who is on the right end of the callers. But Busquet certainly off to a good start. Duhamel opening for 2.5x. Interesting to see whether Busquet defends here versus a 2.5x.
Yeah, certainly the bottom of what we'd expect him to peel, especially a 2.5x, whereas 9-6 would be a snap, and 9-5 is kind of the bottom of the range. You think?
Well, I wouldn't want to predict that, but I don't really know. But I know that Olivier is going to have worked on this part of his game, so I'm really interested to see what the weakest hand he defends there is. I'm pretty sure he'd be peeling to a min raise. And here,
wow,
2 strong holdings. A lot of this hand will depend on whether Duhamel elects to 3-bet or just call. I love these tense moments. And Duhamel does 3-bet the king, queen.
Which means we will probably get these chips into the middle.
Busquet electing to 4-bet. Now Duhamel has to decide whether to call or jam. He does shove, and we're going to have a flip. Jacks versus king, queen. No help for Duhamel on the flop. And a queen on the turn. Jonathan Duhamel stays alive, doubles up, and now has a huge advantage in this heads-up contest. Jonathan Duhamel with a big double up there has Busquet 2-1 in chips, and that's an important moment in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the flop didn't look good for John, and looked like a quick win was impending for Olivier. But, you know, poker giveth, poker taketh away. Queen on the turn, secured a near, victory in the hand for John. Faded the river, and now the chips have really been turned the other way around.
Yeah, and I think he had the same flip in the 1-drop. I think Coleman limped the button with jacks, and Duhamel shoved, really big shove of like 20 big blinds with king, queen. He won the flip versus Coleman's trap, you know, to get heads up against the businessman. And, you know, obviously a hand.
That's interesting, actually, considering, you know, Olivier and obviously Coleman are like a bit of a team, so they know each other extremely well.
Yeah.
So obviously Duhamel getting the better of the duo that is Olivier Busquet and Dan Coleman.
So the blinds up to 500, 1,000. Duhamel picking up a huge hand on the button. And Busquet fortunate not to flop anything. Checks back the flop. Very unconventional from Jonathan Duhamel. Would have been great for him if Busquet had turned a 9 or a 7.
Or an 8.
Yeah, indeed an 8.
Maybe a 6 as well.
But
so that's really the reason why he does that, is because you know, it's such a dry board. It's so hard for Olivier to have connected with it. He wants him to catch up so that he can get some action with his pocket kings.
well, it's a treat anyway for those viewers that are big fans of you and me, Griffin. You know, I'm sure there was a few people back at home going, "Oh
boy.
My goodness, would Phil Galfond and Jason Mercier just please be quiet and let Griffin and Sam speak?" I'm sure, you know,
setting the Twitch chat ablaze
yeah,
with
I'm
stuff
sure
like
there
that.
was some fans saying, "Pipe down, Galfond." You know, we got Grafton in the commentary booth. Let him do his thing. So a real treat for Griffin Benja fans, as no cameras just at the moment. Hopefully, I keep being told we will get them at some point. And, you know, just the dulcet tones of Benja and Grafton. What a treat. My mum's going to be pleased.
So is mine. My mom loves you. Big fan.
And Duhamel in the tank. Gonna bet third pot for value on the river, giving Olivier an excellent price. And here, a feature we saw of the Pascal Lafrancois match. Busquet with the 10 blocker realizes Duhamel doesn't have many 8x he takes this line with and goes for the check raise all in, turning bottom pair into a bluff. Amazing to see. And now Duhamel, having gone from a clear value bet, is now massively in the hurt locker, having to decide what to do with this Queen X. Big move from Busquet.
Did you like that movie, The Hurt Locker? You ever seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I liked it.
I
enjoyed it.
That was Jeremy Renner's flying into the scene. Hadn't really done anything before that.
And Duhamel lays it down, and a big play from Olivier Busquet. Realized the deuce wasn't a sufficiently good bluff catcher against that sizing, turning his hand into a bluff on the river and evening up this match somewhat. Really amazing to see, even without Olivier on the webcam to explain his thought process. That's some exhilarating poker, isn't it, Griff?
Yeah, just completely. It's great to see Olivier. Obviously, so much history. In the game of poker, just knowing when to do those big bluffs. Really impressing the guys back home. And I just wish he was on camera right now, obviously, because he's such an entertaining presence. But we are working on getting that sorted, guys. Again, early on, it's tough to just organize all these guys together to make all this work. But we're doing our best over here for sure. Olivier.
It's sad to see Griffin Benja groveling to the viewing public, but we have to do it on a regular occasion here at the GPL. We're not afraid to grovel. We apologize for not having the webcam at the moment.
But we get to see us again. This is
yeah,
perfect.
and let's be honest, we do still have two very well-known, very established poker players going to war, trying to battle out game points for their franchise. This was the original. Imagine if no one had webcam. This is
all they are. That wouldn't have lasted very long.
Hey, I bought a new shirt today. I'm quite pleased it's getting some airtime.
I got this new one yesterday.
So, just to recap on the day's events, we are, earlier on, we saw Pascal Lafrancois of the Montreal Nationals sweeping the board, winning all 3 matches against Thiago.
You shall not pass!
Thiago Nishijima of the Sao Paulo Metropolitans. And we got to say, Nishijima was on his honeymoon in the Caribbean, so we presume it didn't spoil his day too much. And then we saw the headline match, Phil Galfond and Jason Mercier battling it out. Jason Mercier.
And one day he will call him Mercier. I promise.
Yeah,
you guys.
Jason Mercier.
I've been told that I should do that, but apparently he gets away with murder.
Yeah, Jason, we'll call him. He's a friend of mine. I could call him Jason. Jason getting the best of Phil over the course of all 3 matches.
Brag.
9 points on the board there for the New York Rounders. And now you're watching Jonathan Duhamel representing the Las Vegas Moneymakers against Olivier Busquet of the LA Sunset.
Yeah, and you know what? That really got the New York Rounders kind of back in contention. They leapfrogged a bunch of teams, I believe, to go into second place, right? Behind the Nationals. Nationals obviously pulling away. If you look at the divisional standings, 30 points already. As much as the Paris Aviators in the Eurasia division. So those 2 teams are really in this first 2 weeks. I'm sure Eric Denis doesn't want to be talking about it too much because this is his job, and he'll be telling you all about it later. But great starts for the Paris Aviators, and both French-speaking teams, pretty much primarily. If you look at it, that's a good little connection. So the French. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like our CEO is French. This is conspiracy at the GPL. But no, it's great to see. Obviously, the Canadian team.
Let's sorry to stop you there. Let's just talk about this turn card.
Oh, we're going to do poker still.
Yeah, I'm afraid we are.
Damn it.
Olivier Busquet turning an even stronger hand, having bet the flop, making trips, and it's now on Busquet to pick a value bet sizing and goes big, a polarizing sizing on the turn, putting Duhamel's range under pressure, and Duhamel folds bottom pair.
It's always interesting to see, pardon me guys, it's always interesting to see too, like, when are these people going to see that they just got bluffed, right? Because you know that if they're watching the stream or if they have friends telling them, what happened 10 minutes ago, they're going to find out that he was bluffed in that hand. How is it going to affect him moving forward? Normally when you play poker against someone, you're not really seeing what they actually had 10 minutes later. It always is kind of in the back of your mind, but you never actually find out. Here, he is going to find out that Busquet bluffed him. How is he going to adjust? And how does he think that Olivier thinks he's going to adjust? There's a great mind game and sort of this, like, the game within the game when it comes to poker. And that's something that, I think we don't talk nearly enough about, the fact that, like, when a big play is made, these guys are going to find out very soon after.
Yeah, well, I think particularly with some of the live players, you saw Jason Mercier, you saw Jason was particularly interested in the hands that Phil played, wanted to get as much information as he can and alter his strategy accordingly. I feel like Olivier Busquet has been in this position so many times and worked so much on his ranges that he's not necessarily going to need to make major adjustments in his ranges, because he thinks that Duhamel's mistakes are going to... The fact that his ranges are so well sorted out, when Duhamel makes mistakes, he'll be able to exploit them just naturally through the work he's done.
We're already at the 800, 1600 level, guys. Obviously only 100,000 chips in play in these heads-up matches. Busquet, if you guys are just joining us, by the way, please follow us at GPL. There's conversation all over Twitter, obviously, about these matches, these players, these teams, these franchises. And also, if you want to find out more about us, go to www.globalpokerleague.com. There you'll see the standings. Eventually we're going to have merchandising, so many different things to be excited about with the Global Poker League going down the road.
For those of you on the edge of your seat wanting merchandising already, we will get it. We'll get webcams.
We've got a lot of requests.
And then we'll get merchandising one day for you as well. You can wear your Montreal Nationals jersey with pride. It's coming soon.
Hey, the team names, by the way, could have been a lot worse than like Montreal Nationals, New York Rounders. These are some great names. Imagine if we just went with poker names, Sam. That probably wouldn't have gone well.
Yeah, thank God they picked sporting franchises, and not just geeky poker.
Yeah,
names.
Can you imagine like the Rome Range Builders?
That would be pretty good.
Hong Kong hold.
But by the way, I don't think like some of the. Yeah, you don't need to shout.
Well, RIP ears. But I mean, if you're gonna hold, you got to yell it.
So here we get to the river, and Olivier Busquet has called twice with what was third player on the flop, the A7. Do you see how I can talk to you and follow the action? It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is very
And now
impressive.
Jonathan Duhamel having to decide whether to go for thin value with top pair, strong kicker.
Yeah, Olivier Busquet. It's obviously a tough spot.
I think it's
for
going
the law.
It's going to be an easy fold, I would imagine, because this Ace of Spades blocker is going to take out some of Duhamel's bluffs, like some of his flush draws that he barrels down the streets. Obviously, the 8-10 turned a pair, the Queen Jack, the gut shot that he will see bet, river to straight. So I think these are the kind of things that Olivier is going to use to determine the frequency with which he calls. He realizes he's got a lot stronger hands than that getting to the river.
Olivier, of course, representing the Los Angeles Limp Folders. Pardon me, the Los Angeles Sunset here in the GPL. Two very playable hands here. King 4 of Hearts for Olivier Busquet. Jonathan Duhamel with the Queen Jack suited. We are going to see a flop, and that is definitely going to go the French Canadians' way.
Yeah, Duhamel raising for value with a strong Broadway holding. Technically speaking, wasn't in front of the King High, but on this Jack High board, you can see 88% of the time he is going to win. And you'd imagine Olivier Busquet not going to be able to continue.
Interesting lead here by Duhamel.
But he raised after Busquet limped, so he has the betting lead.
Pardon me, yes.
You should pay attention, because we haven't got Galfond to do the work for us,
I know.
Griff. So I'm sorry, I know normally you just go off and get like some food and chill out, but like we've actually got to do a little bit of work here.
Yeah, no, let's do it. I'm excited about it. Let's do it.
So again, let's see whether Jonathan bets this combo or checks it back. Yeah, he does have a check it back range, and actually lets Olivier sneak into the lead.
The Los Angeles Sunset, third in the Americas division right now. They are behind, fourth. They are behind the Las Vegas Moneymakers. So this is a sort of a battle of the mid-tier teams so far based on the standings. Again, we talked about Montreal Nationals, New York Rounders really pulling away.
Here, Busquet going for a big sizing on the river. He realizes
His king is good.
Yeah, and he's going to get to the river with a lot of air when Duhamel takes this line. But Jonathan Duhamel, savvy enough to make the fold. And Busquet clawing his way back into it. Duhamel has him 3-2 in chips. If you're just joining us, there was already a massive confrontation between these two where Jonathan Duhamel 3-bet king queen off, a 4-bet with Busquet's jacks, and a 5-bet all in from Duhamel. A queen on the turn meant that Duhamel won that flip. Busquet had already chipped away at his opponent and lived to fight another day. But that's why Jonathan Duhamel has this significant
Two very, very strong playable pre-flop hands here between Jonathan Duhamel and Olivier Busquet. But not a good flop for one of them.
Yeah. Again, be interested to see whether Duhamel stabs here or checks back and tries to steer his hand to showdown. This is a board, obviously, that a great deal of hands connect with, so not entirely surprised to see Duhamel just check it back. And I think Busquet will probably go on the attack now on the turn.
12,000.
Oh my goodness.
What the
Maybe
hell?
Olivia. Wow, that's impressive.
That was pretty cool.
That's the first time. Like, you should just capture that moment and put it on replay.
Wow.
Griffin Benja, people think he's washed up, but actually, a heads up. And
Not
also,
even like
how
11-8.
much
What the hell
how
was
much
that?
have we hyped Olivier Busquet? We've been going on and on about it. How many times? Like,
And now he's just predictable. Dude, that was
yeah.
so cool.
No, we've said that he's like the best in the world at what he does, but Griffin Benja picking the exact same
Jeez.
sizing.
I
Sick.
thought
Maybe, mate, you're sitting here earning like $30 an hour. You should be out there crushing 5K heads up sit and goes, bruv. I mean, unbelievable. That was a special moment. I don't know how you guys felt about it at home. What warmed my heart. Griffin Benja.
I mean, if you fire off enough, bullshit bullets, eventually it's going to hit something.
Yeah, that's it. Some, even a stop clock's right twice a day.
Yeah, exactly. Is that true? Oh, yeah, because this starts and it stops. I got it.
If only season 2, Stapes and Hartigan will be here. But for now, this is Sam Grafton and Griffin Benja. This is the GPL. This is the first match of 3 between Jonathan Duhamel and Olivier Busquet. Duhamel representing the Moneymakers of Las Vegas and Busquet representing LA Sunset. Duhamel's clock got pretty short. Not that short, 3 minutes. But he had that long tank on the river. We also saw an amazing hand earlier where Busquet turned bottom pair into a bluff on the river, check raising all in, and forcing Jonathan Duhamel to fold his top pair. Pretty impressive stuff from Busquet, wasn't it?
Yeah, not the first time we've seen something like that today, obviously.
Yeah, Pascal Lafrancois. But mainly those were for value, yeah? I think Pascal didn't really do it.
No, he did it once as a bluff.
Oh, he did it once as a bluff.
No, Tiago did. Remember?
Tiago did it
He
as a bluff,
Russian,
yes.
he
That's
Brazilianed it into the middle. Really big holding here for Olivier.
And with this particular holding, a little bit tough between, I presume Duhamel will call. Not a great spot to be peeling a 3x with Queen Deuce suited, and actually the more conservative play. Seems to me that if you're going to fold that hand, maybe it's better to have a raising strategy. I'm not certain at all.
The money should go in here.
Yeah,
We'll
Duhamel's going to raise. Busquet then will have just a shove from Duhamel, called by Busquet. Another flip.
Great flop for Olivier here. Just has to dodge a 10 or an ace. And now throw kings into the mix as well. But of course, Olivier with the 5 of hearts.
Yeah, action, turn card, bricks off, and Olivier Busquet doubling through Duhamel to 81,000. Now has a 4-1 chip advantage, and Duhamel now a huge favorite to take this first contest down.
Oh, Duhamel's a huge favorite now, isn't
Oh, sorry, Busquet, a huge
We're going to see another all-in here, guys, when Duhamel shoves. So we're going to see a showdown.
King or 6 to win this match for Olivier Busquet.
And if not, with the blinds levels that it is now, Jonathan's really going to be back into it. So Olivier really wants to spike that king or that 6 to send the French Canadian to the rail. Does not happen. 62,000 now for Olivier, around 40 for Jonathan Duhamel. We're at the 1224 level. This is the Global Poker League. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. Laura Cornelius and Eric Denny are in the lobby, lounge, hanging out. Thanks for tuning in, guys, all week. It's been a lot of fun watching these two guys play poker. There's a lot to learn.
You think Busquet limp call? I presume he limp calls this, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because that was a hand like trick it, limp called as well. He was a bit unsure about.
Right.
People weren't entirely sure what they were supposed to do with that. Just to see where Busquet constructs his range. Might see a stab on the turn here.
Yeah, this
for
should be
Duhamel.
call a fair bit, right? With how good Olivier is at breaking down hands.
Probably bet fold, I would imagine, but
with the gut shot, and yeah, I guess because just like
he's got some stronger holdings than this for sure. Nope, you were right. Bet call, and now Duhamel. Question of whether he can fire again on the river.
I guess I'm in the zone on this match.
Mate, you're crushing. Are you
The
some sort of secret heads-up boss?
Though. That was such a.
By the way, if you
nonsense.
are a secret heads-up boss, you've been keeping it so secret. It's
Yeah,
sick.
I just trying.
And
to
also, look at this now. Duhamel surrenders, and Busquet with ace deuce essentially being the worst hand that he checks back and calls. He then turns ace deuce into a bluff, even though it's the best hand. Amazing to see this play out between
Absolutely.
these two poker minds. And Busquet with an all-in. 3-1 chip advantage. If you're just joining us, these guys are playing for points. There is no money on the line, but these guys have played for millions of dollars. Right now, they're playing for points for their franchises.
This is going to be really close. I think Liv will up to call, though.
And
another race.
Do you want to do your noise just briefly? Queen on the turn, and Busquet, Duhamel with just 2 outs to stay in this match. Bricks off on the river. Olivier Busquet secures 3 points for the LA Sunset.
Yes, he does. Griffin Benger, Sam Grafton, day 6. Olivier Busquet showing his heads-up prowess. Now played a total of 4 heads-up heats or matches in the Global Poker League so far. 3 for 4, pretty good a record, honestly. And he's played a lot of interesting hands, some overbets. That big shove all in against Jonathan Duhamel. So obviously, we talked about how good he is, the pedigree, and that's a great 3 points for the LA Sunset.
He's slapping up these live pros. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
One of the things was with the draft is perhaps people were picking our friends, colleagues, regional identity. There was a lot of things going into the process. Maria Ho picking an expert in the specific format. A lot of the GPL
really intelligent
revolves
choice.
around, and that's paying massive dividends at the moment. Because whatever the results, we don't want to be entirely results oriented. There's a lot of luck involved.
Yeah.
Olivier Busquet showing that he is a formidable heads-up player.
Yeah, I mean, if there was one thing that I would bet on in a situation like the GPL, it's that Olivier Busquet would have a positive heads-up ratio.
You can bet on it.
I think you can. I don't know where the bet stars maybe.
Jason
So Olivier Busquet, obviously, someone with such a huge pedigree, such a background in this particular format. He's always going to be one of the toughest opponents in the heads-up side of things. Jonathan Duhamel, obviously, he was hanging in there, but again, he even won the biggest all-in of the match before the last hand, King-Queen against Jacks. So over the course of the match, it really was Liv who put on the best show. But Duhamel, as we've learned, everyone that has a tough time in the first match usually finds a way to claw out 3 points. But today, it hasn't really turned out that way. So, again, 3 points for the LA Sunset. What a team that Maria Ho has drafted. Everyone's talking about the surprise wildcard selection of Aaron Paul, the celebrity from Breaking Bad fame. But you look at the rest of the team, the first-round selection of Fedor Holtz. You look at the Olivier Busquet. Maria Ho, a very, very talented player in her own right. So this is a team that's got a lot of talent and really knows where to put them in which format.
Yeah, of course. Really enjoyable to see Busquet put on a show. Such a shame that we didn't have the webcam to get his insights.
Yeah.
Or for, Duhamel to, it's very easy for me to be critical when he's barreling 9-7 and Busquet's got the hand absolutely locked. But, perhaps, particularly with field players who are doing something slightly unconventional, we need that insight into where they're coming from.
I think you're always off by one card when you think of a hand. Every time it's like you said the ace-4 and then it was ace-5. Just now you said 9-7.
Griffin,
I'm pretty
be quiet.
sure it was.
Let's go over to the lounge where we've got Eric Denis and Laura Cornelius.
Yeah, Griffin, be quiet, will you? I'm joined by Eric Dunny now in the lounge. 3 points there for the LA Sunset. Maria Ho will be very happy with Olivier Busquet.
I agree, yeah. I think it's a very solid 3-point acquisition for Busquet. It comes up to the fact that when Olivier Busquet wins races, it's going to be almost impossible for Duhamel to win this. So hopefully for us French Canadians, Duhamel can maybe rack up a victory in this next one, because if not, it's going to be a lot of pressure on Duhamel should he lose this next match.
The boys at the beginning said that Duhamel was playing a little bit unconventionally. Would you agree?
I think we hear that a lot about Duhamel. I think that's the way he plays, and that's fine, right? Why always play the way people expect you to play, to challenge yourself and challenge others to, I think against Busquet, that might be a great strategy actually, because Busquet, if you're playing ABC poker, he is probably going to exploit that. Whereas if you're playing a little weird, Busquet will find that weird, and it's too bad that our cameras weren't working, because I'm sure Busquet would have commented on that, because he did comment that last week as well when he was playing in his match, saying, that's weird, I'm not exactly sure what that means. So maybe that's what Duhamel is trying to do, to try to trick him a bit, because if you're not going to try that, then you're probably going to lose.
I mean, there must be quite a lot of pressure playing someone like Olivier Busquet, who's written books about heads-up poker, and you are going to try and throw them off, aren't you?
Right, and I guess there's even more pressure if you're the former WSOP world champion, where everyone just expects you to be the best at everything you play in poker. So there might be that added pressure on Jonathan himself. So, and he's also very hard on himself. So just won 2 bracelets, right? 2 of the top 4 or 5 bracelets to win at the World Series every year. He won those last year. So I'm sure there's a lot of pressure he's feeling just because of his success.
We watched Olivier play last week as well. Obviously, Maria knows he's a good heads-up player, so she's probably going to put him down to play a lot of heads-up matches. Right. Do you think he's playing pretty similar to how he played last week, or has he changed his style a little?
No, I think it's pretty much the old Olivier. I don't think he needs to change, right? He's been so successful for 5, 6, 7 years now. Why change? Why change a winning formula? I think on Maria's...
Against different players, though, no?
Right. I mean, but I bet you he's the type of guy that will adjust to any scenario, right? I mean, he's that good, so wouldn't be surprised if he's changing that. I think Griffin and Sam really called it well in saying that it's just classic Olivier. And
maybe he will be giving Aaron Paul a few little lessons.
I'm sure that's going to happen. I think that's exactly why Aaron Paul was selected, and the team is so strong. I think it makes perfect sense to do that, to have him play with Aaron, for Maria to give him some exposure as well. So absolutely, I think it'd be shocking if that would not happen.
Well, we know that he's a good communicator, a good teacher, so he'd probably be the perfect member of LA Sunset. I think,
absolutely, and he's a very patient man as well. I'm sure Aaron's going to have a lot of questions for him. So I really do think Aaron Paul playing for LA is no coincidence, and the fact that team is so strong, both education-wise and play-wise, is going to go to their advantage. Would not be surprised to see an Aaron Paul good poker player at the end of the season compared to what he is now, and that will mean another weapon that they can use further down the line.
Well, LA Sunset picking up the first 3 points there. Will they do another clean sweep, though? Do you think they'll make 9 points?
Well, I think the odds are in Busquet's favor. We've seen 2 sweeps already, so I can't say that sweeps are rare anymore.
It's been a sweepy kind of night.
Right, there's been so many. So yesterday we had none, and then today already 2. So I will think that Duhamel will pull one through. He was playing very well, by the way, and missed out on one flip at the end that would have given him that win, or at least a big lead. So I think Duhamel is playing really well. I'm hoping the cameras are going to be up in the second match, and then I would not be surprised if Duhamel at least wins at least one of these next 2 matches.
So if LA Sunset managed to wipe the board here, where will that put them in the standings? I mean, they can't possibly beat Montreal. We know Montreal is at the top, whatever. But can they eclipse New York? I don't know if they can.
We'd have to verify. I'm not sure,
I'm not
Laura.
sure.
Thanks for putting him on
Sorry,
the
I
spot.
put him in the spot, didn't I?
Yeah. No, they would be definitely in that top tier, and I think it's points that they do need. They were 4th coming in I do think they're disappointed by that result. I think they would have expected more points. So in that sense, if they can score 9 points, it'd be a perfect night for LA, of course. And it'd be a devastating night for Las Vegas, who've had a great start to the season, yet 0 wins so far. So maybe try to spin that around and Duhamel can win 2 in a row and finally put that W on the board for the Moneymakers.
Indeed, and we'll be seeing some more, hopefully, of Maria Ho at some point as well. We'll get to chat with her, and she's obviously the other wild card. I feel bad because we haven't been chatting about her playing because Erin Paul's obviously the other wild card.
It was totally her fault. Had she named a nobody as the other wild card, we would all be talking about Maria, but she named a pretty big Hollywood star. I think Maria's very okay with the way things have turned out so far. We may be underestimating Maria coming into her matches, which would be a very big mistake.
Well, this is the last matchup of the evening of the Americas Conference. It is a big one. It is Olivier Busquet for the LA Sunset versus Jonathan Duhamel of the Las Vegas Moneymakers. Obviously, LA Sunset has 3 points so far. There are another 6 points up for grabs. They will play all 3 games, no matter who wins the first 2. So 9 points available here on this evening. We're going to head back to the desk now with Griffin and Sam and look into this next game.
Thanks, Laura. He's Sam Grafton. I'm Griffin Benger, and I can apparently predict bet sizes perfectly when they're overbet.
Yeah, and exciting news, guys, is you will not have to put up with as much blathering from Mr. Benger in that second match. I believe that we at last have Olivier Busquet, like the Martian. We've made contact with him once more. He's back, and he's going to be able to talk us through his thought process. And that is really exciting because Olivier Busquet showed us once again in that first match that in this format, he is a huge boss.
Absolutely. And, he's the guy we've talked about, with the LA Sunset, who is going to be the heads-up boss. So he's someone that's so fun to watch in this particular format. Jonathan Duhamel needs to get some points before the Las Vegas Moneymakers.
We have talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. We've reiterated it. But the thing is, it also shows that, balanced, thought-through, structured, theory-based poker is exciting. I mean, he takes that 10 deuce versus Duhamel's river bet, the 10 blocker, blocking the nuts, analyzing the way Duhamel's played his range, rips it in there on the river. This kind of theory-based poker still involves making really, really big moves at the right time. And we saw that Duhamel laying down, had he made that call, that match is his.
Absolutely. I think we're going to head to the match pretty shortly. Again, it looks like we are going to have them on cam.
Not Duhamel. Jonathan Duhamel, no web camera. As of yet, I think he is out for the whole match. So if you're just here to hear Duhamel, just switch off the computer right now. But Olivier Busquet, we saw last week, really generous in his thoughts. And let's hope to have that again. There he is.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Will we have sound? Oh, I hope so. What if he doesn't say anything now? Huge letdown. Duhamel did pick an offsuit ace to 3 in the first contest.
Is this on? Can you guys hear me?
There we go. He'll be getting confirmation back from the
I just heard
producers.
Griff call out the exact 12K bet. That was pretty good. Now I feel all awkward now. I feel like I really don't want to play him at least.
Olivier Busquet, perhaps the only person that doesn't want to pay Griffin Benger at
Sounds you there, John?
Griffin Benger.
All right. That was a fun game. John tries some different stuff. It's crazy to be able to see the hands, every single hand that your opponent has. I mean, it's wild. Weird lead.
Pretty pretty big strategic error there from Duhamel to lead the ace on the river. In general, that's the card. Should hit Busquet's range really hard. I think Olivier probably would have turned king high into a bluff on that
Guys,
river.
don't forget, 1 week from today, I'm going to fight another guy in a cage in Las Vegas. Try to figure out a way for people to be able to watch. Check it out. Should be fun.
Olivier Busquet not mucking around there. He's playing JC Alvarado.
3-bet here, John.
In
Do
a
it.
high-stakes MMA match.
Okay. I'm not.
Playing for, I believe, putting up $160,000, something in that region. Olivier Busquet
John
betting
actually
on
played
himself.
heads up in the NBC heads up. Pretty decently late in that tournament, and he beat me. It was not fun. It's pretty good, though, for someone who doesn't really play heads up that much. I think John just has pretty good instincts generally.
Yeah, great point there by Olivier. Anyone with this success, you know, as we saw with Jason Mercier.
Full 3x this time. I don't know if that means anything. And if it does, I don't know what it means. John checked back some pretty strong hands last game I saw. Kings on the 10 high board, King Jack on the King like 10 or the King 9-7 board. I don't know if he is just doing that to mix it up or if he thinks that I lead too much on the turn, but I do lead a lot. Maybe too much, I don't know.
He's a leader.
This is a hand sometimes I 3-bet with. It's like right on the cutoff of the weakest hands that I continue with to a raise. I'm not sure if John is really the right type of opponent to 3-bet any junk with. He tends to be a little stickier, especially in position. So I'd be more likely to 3-bet a linear range as Sam likes to say. I think linear ranges are a little bit better for people who are opening at either a lower frequency and or call a lot of 3-bets, because then you have a lot of playable hands in 3-bet pots. It's full 3x here. I'm not sure if that's an adjustment. I mean, I guess it is because he wasn't really doing it last game. So I guess I just have to play a little tighter. And 4-9 suited seems like the type of hand that I would fold to a 3-bet, to a 3x, but not to a smaller raise. This would be a nice spot for him to 3-bet. There we go. All right. So he's got what? 49K pretty much.
Tough spot now for Jonathan Duhamel with this holding.
Yeah, you know, it's all about really what his intention was going into the hand when he decided to 3-bet. Was he doing it so that if he does face a 4-bet, does he go all in?
It'd be great if he had King Queen again and he went all in.
Mm-hmm. Similar situation for sure.
When Olivier just calls this 3-bet, obviously he has the Jack 10, King 10 type hands that Duhamel absolutely dominates. Against his 4-bet calling range, Ace 10 in pretty bad shape. And that's what Jonathan Duhamel is going to be thinking about right now. Not an enviable situation to fold. Not a great situation to shove. Not great to be playing a 20k pot. He
All right,
does
good
shove.
luck.
And Busquet could end this match in record time if it runs off cleanly for him.
Oh, that's not good.
Busquet needing an ace or a queen.
All right, keep playing.
Yeah, a little lucky there for Jonathan Duhamel. Getting the chop, but again, ace-10, a very strong hand, obviously, in a
That's
heads-up
part of
format.
the problem of 3-betting a hand like ace-10 at this depth. Once you get 4-bet, it's a little awkward. You have to try to evaluate how often your opponent's 4-bet bluffing, and kind of make a decision. I think especially because he was out of position, maybe I guess he didn't feel comfortable just flatting. But it's not really an enviable spot once you 3-bet and then get 4-bet. Maybe he's wants to make this more of a pre-flop game because he thinks that I have just a little bit more experience in this format, which obviously I do. I've played a lot of these. It's obviously not a terrible flop, but it's also a flop that the texture is going to hit my range a lot. So if he gave a lot of pressure, he could create some tough spots for me later on. I think this is a pretty reasonable check. It's a terrible card. Okay, maybe he's got like 2 8s. Yeah, I think at this point, I really don't know, actually. He could definitely be bluffing if he bets. All right, I guess I should just check. 2 5s, yeah. That's an interesting choice of hand to 3-bet. It's pretty tough to play once you get called. He might think that I'm playing a kind of 4-bet or fold game to his 3-bets. I'm not, though it might seem like that because I've 4-bet twice and haven't called any other 3-bets, but that's really just been a function of the small sample and the hands I've been dealt. He's continuing to 3x, even at 4-8. So it looks like he has made a conscious choice to change his sizes and maybe his overall strategy a little bit.
Yeah, Olivier confirming what I think we could all see. Jonathan Duhamel sort of ramping up the variance, making...
I don't expect him to see bet that wide on this board, but I can't fold this hand.
Yeah. Trying to cancel out Olivier's hand reading skills by making things, bloating the pot, pre-flop and on the flop. Many just pre-flop.
I think a lot of the hands he bets on the flop, he continues with on the turn. My hand is just not that strong and has a real tough time improving. So he's going to be bluffing me for sure sometimes. But I just don't think there's too much I can do. Guess I could call. I don't think it's very good.
I think he's just massively YOLO, isn't he? Jonathan Duhamel.
Yeah,
he's just like, I'm putting it on you.
Yeah,
just
but
blasting.
I mean, think about one of the most famous hands in poker in the last 10 minutes, and it was when he was just like, here, I'm sticking the jacks in your eye, Affleck, because I just turned equity, and then he just smacks it there, goes on to win the main event. And in multi-table tournament, that's really the way you need to...
strategy can get a little bit old, but...
You really need to play to sort of play for the win and get a lot of wins.
Something else and focus on the game at the same time.
Play for the win?
Yeah.
Griffin Benja.
No, not a lot of people play for the win. Like they obviously they want to win, but they don't know how to you need to acquire all the chips. There's a lot of guys that might have good results but don't get a lot of wins. I mean, you look at for instance, Jonathan Duhamel with 83 results and 7 wins. That's a pretty good ratio. Every time he cashes, 10% of the time he wins. Whereas someone even like Olivier Busquet, he has 78 results and only 3 wins.
So he doesn't play for the win.
Doesn't play for the win. Olivier Busquet, you heard it here first, guys. No, I mean, of course, there's so many things to consider, variance and all that sort of thing. I'm just saying that Jonathan Duhamel is going to be the kind of guy I think that's going to have massive chip leads at final tables, more so, not necessarily comparing him to Olivier. I'm not going to pick on him just because he's there.
Bottom and second
it's
pairs,
definitely evident in the different ways people
I bet
play.
sometimes when
we disagree,
I have the ace kicker, nut kicker, the second kicker, just because if that card pairs again on the turn or river, I can cooler someone.
You've never looked at like pocket fives rankings,
and I just
like
want to have some
ratio?
bottom and second pairs when I bet and get to the turn, just because I don't want to be as predictable. Check. That's not a good card. Yeah, can't really call bet here. Okay, I have a 6. Wow, cool. I'll take it. Also, that board not as much, but on some boards, you know, people will check call with ace high. So if you have a hand like ace 7 and it comes, you know, 8-7 deuce, and then you bet and they call and the turn is an ace, you know, sometimes they're going to have ace high having check call that flop, and then you can essentially it's a form of coolering them again, because now you've both hit your hands, but you've made 2 pair. What are we at? 5-1? Okay.
Duhamel folds at the 9 high, tanking up for a bit. I think Busquet also c-bets a lot more than Galfond. They both, like Galfond actually was checking back a lot of those kind of queen highs, whereas I think Busquet does always just play his range, and with the stronger hands on King 10, he bets wider sort of for value and protection than Galfond did. I mean, we've just seen so much.
So Busquet plays for value and Duhamel plays for the win, we've established.
Griffin Benjer, ladies and gentlemen. He just fars Duhamel. We really have seen some of the world's best poker players today. Seems like every day at the GPL.
I think that's kind of how this works. Astute observation. Samuel Grafton, everyone.
I guess maybe a 3-bet's coming. No, fold. Cool.
I don't know how Jonathan's picking his defending strategy
like
while folding king highs as well. I guess maybe he's 3-betting wider and folding, like defending less. I don't know if that can be a correct strategy either.
Pretty good flop.
Wow.
I think I'm going to check raise and just put a ton of aggression in if he bets. I don't expect him to be betting that wide, but my hand is just so much equity, and I'm going to be check raising some nutted hands too. Yeah, I mean, actually, this bet size on this board texture, like I expect to get it in a decent amount. And if he has a higher flush draw, I'm in a lot of trouble. But again, I have so much equity. And sometimes I try to make these types of reads and I'm just wrong and I feel silly. So with this type of situation, when I know I can't go wrong by being aggressive here, yeah, that's how I'm going to do it.
I presume Jonathan will call. He's going to take his time thinking through it. Not a great position to find yourself in.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he just says like 10s or something. See, make these reads and I'm wrong. So we got to fold. So that was a decent result. That's exactly what I was talking about. So we're at just about 30 bigs effective. pretty much when I start to limp.
Busquet, of course, able to c-bet this board at a very high frequency, even when he's got such a weak holding, because he has all the strong ace-x and queen-x. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner, if you're just joining us, Olivier Busquet won the first match between these two guys, securing 3 points for LA Sunset.
Really curious to see if Duhamel will just shove the
I'm gonna raise call here
27 big blinds.
He goes all in.
Wow, there you go. Would you like to start the horses? Let them out of the gate, or shall I?
Drivers, start your engines.
This type of spot that's pretty opponent dependent. Good luck.
9 for a sweat. Let's see a 9.
9, king, or jack.
Nope.
Jonathan Duhamel winning a big flip there, and now has a 2-1 chip advantage over Olivier Busquet. Big flip could prove a big moment for Jonathan Duhamel. Would have been awful for him to find himself 2 matches down. Now he is right back in it and actually a favourite to win this second match.
I check back most of my ace-5s, but a few of them I bet, and this is one of the ones that I bet. I have a way of randomizing.
This is sort of high level some of these guys are at. When Olivier says randomizing, he actually uses suits probably to decide which ace-5 offsuits to bet on that flop texture. That's what he's saying. This is the kind of level some of these guys who play heads-up sit and goes for a living are actually at, and increasingly tournament and cash game players as well. Of course, you could be using a random number generator as well. A lot of different options, but just shows the kind of level Olivier's playing at when it comes to this format.
$8.16. All right, under 20.
And guys, if you like watching Olivier Busquet play heads up,
more under 20,
and you want to see more of it, you can watch him playing heads up next
really
week against JC Alvarado in a cage match. And if you just don't really like his face and want to see it get a bit punched, that's another way too to get more exposure of Liv B. He's been training for that match for a while now. Obviously, MMA and training, something that interested him.
God.
Looking
all
back
right,
at a
well,
hand
this
now.
is a good spot. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of poke. I presume.
He limp jamming, A7.
Let's just see what Duhamel does here.
No.
Yeah, a lot of poker players going to be taking big bets on that. See a lot of action being booked amongst the poker
But he's
community.
been ISOing a bunch, but he's also aware that he's ISOing a bunch, so I don't know if that's going to kind of change how often he does it. I'm not sure what I would have done if he, like 3x there. Maybe I would have just called. My hand is suited, so it's a little bit more playable.
pair over pair situation. Obviously, you guys can see Jonathan Duhamel flopping very strong and leading out for value.
Interesting.
Don't know whether Busquet's going to be able to fold the flops, and even stronger turn Duhamel with a lock on this hand now.
Going to be very difficult for Liv B to fold this turn. Jonathan obviously leads some nines, but also a lot of hands like the 7 of clubs, 8 of clubs. So it's going to be difficult for Olivier to find a fold here.
Okay. I'm not sure if that card is a card that he's really going to bluff that often on. I'm also not sure if he's going to try to value bet a flush. Wow.
Big decision here for Olivier. Kind of sounds like he's already come to the conclusion that he's going to fold based off his instinct. But again, it's difficult, once you start running the math, and we'll have to see what he decides.
It's difficult because Duhamel's a bit of a button clicker, basically.
Pretty fast, too. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
I mean let's let Olivier explain.
I did call twice, so it's not like I just have a gut shot here.
You could have a gut shot.
I guess I could have some 5s too. Use those to bluff cash. Yeah, get in.
Busquet works it out.
I'm interested to see that one later. Good hand, John. This is also a good hand. Maybe you can just go all in for me. Make it easy.
I think he might with this hand.
Yeah, and let's just be clear here. If Jonathan Duhamel spikes an ace, he is going to win this second contest.
Okay. Low cards.
That's why I'm putting on my jacket.
An ace required from Jonathan Duhamel to gain 3 points for the Moneymakers. Can he hit it on the river? No, it doesn't, and the match continues. Olivier Busquet picking up a huge hand right when he needed it. That was my commentary voice.
Man,
yeah, it was. That was great.
You can do there.
Unbelievable, Griffin.
It's just the cooler that I get lucky on.
Masterclass.
But I will take it.
I think Duhamel's going to shove here.
Check, buddy. Just chill with this crazy, aggressive.
It's great. It's really what works for John against an opponent like Olivier. Duhamel always coming in with a game plan. He wants to be annoying. He wants to be a tick on the side of Olivier's face. He's doing a good job of it. Tick face.
Top pair, at least.
Not a very good one.
Yeah, huge flop for
pair,
Jonathan
top
Duhamel.
pair nonetheless.
Flopping top pair and an up and down straight draw. And Busquet thinks his frequencies are pretty out of line, especially after that big fold he just made.
I'm super excited about. Oh, he had ace-3 on that hand. Oh, that's interesting. I think I probably would have checked back ace-3. Well, no, maybe not. I don't know.
And big river card,
man,
for Jonathan Duhamel's hand.
I really want to bet here, but I have so many worse hands to bet, so I guess I'll check.
And it's actually going to look a little bit strange because you would expect Duhamel to bet a lot of his 10x on the turn when he makes that gut shot to the nuts and barrel a lot of his 5x. So it's going to look weird to Busquet.
All right, you got it.
Oh, maybe not. And Busquet snap folds. Big pot for Jonathan Duhamel, but Olivier Busquet could have lost a lot more there.
Hopefully he continues to jam it in. Nope, not that time.
Jonathan Duhamel flopping strongly yet again.
Wow. I wonder if this is something he's making up on the fly, or if this is like a strategy that he's thought through.
And it runs out in such a way that you would imagine it would be hard for Duhamel to go for value. But then, yeah, it should go.
I guess I don't get to the river with too many worse hands.
Aha.
But I don't expect him to be folding much. Maybe he has like some 4 here. I just don't expect him to fold very much against me. Yeah, I don't know what he would have done with that hand.
So Olivier Busquet on just 10 big blinds. Jonathan Duhamel in a commanding position still. Looking to close out the second match and get some points on the board for the Las Vegas Moneymakers. This time it's Busquet who flops strongly.
I think this is actually a decent spot to check raise, and then if he just calls to jam.
Amazing to see such
I'm
intricate,
going to have a lot more 2-pair combos than he is.
such intricate strategies at just 10 big
Maybe not
blinds.
a lot more, but
Busquet playing in a way where he still has a check, raise, turn, jam range, playing off just 11
he's just
big
going to have
blinds.
to equity hands there a bunch,
Unbelievable.
like 9-7 and things like that. This is a tough one against an aggressive big blind. He hasn't limp jammed or limp called yet. I think I'm just going to jam this. I think 15 is pretty much the limit at which I open jam. Okay. I'm going to check back.
Busquet checking back aces and Duhamel flops a flush draw.
Bet that pretty quick.
It's going to go bigger than that on this texture, mate.
6,000.
No, it's going bigger.
Be great if you just had a jack.
Stop clock's only right twice a
I'm
day.
just kind of tired of my shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I just got to keep firing because I'm going to get one more, right?
Yeah, you get one
Yeah,
more.
come on. Just a flush draw. Ooh, one more spade. Brutal. Brutal. Wow.
Runs off pure for Jonathan Duhamel. 5 deuces spades, cracking Olivier Busquet's aces. The second match goes to Jonathan Duhamel of the Las Vegas Moneymakers. A lot of poker players going to be taking big... Well...
Congratulations to Jonathan Duhamel and the Las Vegas Moneymakers. A big 3 points in this very, very tough heads-up match against one of the most famous heads-up players in the world, Olivier Busquet. It's 3-3 going to the final game of the night, the final game of our second week here at the GPL. Again, this is day 6. I'm Griffin Benger. He's Sam Grafton. We've had a lot of fun calling all of these games, and we keep on getting better and better, and it's just really fun to see. It's nice to see
we're
players...
getting better about.
No, the player. I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
who's getting better about?
I thought we were getting
someone.
Better.
Anyway, carry on, please.
And so there's one more match tonight. Next week we're gonna have tons of great action for you all the way for the next 6-7 weeks. But this game is really what's on the line right now. 3 more points up for grabs between the Moneymakers and the LA Sunset. And it's just it's fun to watch Olivier play, and it's fun that he recognizes that Duhamel is adjusting his strategy in order to find out the best way. I mean, John is such an intelligent guy. He knows he's like, I'm not gonna play. I can't play Olivier's game better than him, so I'm just going to play my game. I'm going to confuse him. I'm going to do all these different things. I'm going to lead, and that's really thrown Olivier off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Duhamel, let's give him credit. He came out with a different strategy there. He mixed things up. He realized that playing a small ball, limping strategy, min-raising strategy was playing to Olivier Busquet's strength. As we said right at the top of the show, Olivier Busquet knows his 3-bet frequencies, knows his check-back frequencies, knows when to probe turn, etc., etc. What he doesn't know how to deal with is a French-Canadian coming out, 3xing, ramping up the variance, 3-bet calling, super wide, folding a little bit tighter from the big blind. Duhamel made that adjustment, perhaps getting some coaching from Zeno or Moneymaker or something like that, and, it worked for them. Admittedly, he had to get very lucky with that big all-in confrontation, early doors, ace-10 against ace-queen, ran out of chop.
And then to crack aces at the end, too.
Yeah,
it definitely ran really well.
You need a bit of luck, but fair play to Duhamel. It's not like he didn't make an adjustment. He realized that he was having the worst of it in that first match, changed his strategy up.
So I think we're going to jump right back into the action in about a minute. But let's talk about some of the themes that we've seen over the course of the day. Obviously, we had the 2 sweeps. Pascal Lafrancois taking on Thiago Nishijima of the San Paulo Metropolitans. He was able to take a full sweep there, really showed the depth of talent on that Canadian team. And they're all the way up to 29 points now in leading the Americas division. We look at the next matchup, of course, the most anticipated of the day, Phil Galfond of the San Francisco Rush playing against the first round selection, 3rd overall from the New York Rounders, the famous player known as Jason Mercier. And they both played, in that case, Mercier getting the sweep of Galfond, very, very unexpected. Came out the gate maybe a little slower than we would have expected. Definitely, little unconventional ticks that he played the game, and then we realized that his feel is what makes him so special, and he was able to get a sweep of someone that is hard to shove under that rug.
Yeah, for sure. That summarizes the day. Obviously, one of the unusual things is 2 players who won all 3 matches against their opponents. We didn't see huge skill discrepancy between Pascal and Thiago, but if the cards run your way and you're making the most of your opportunities, that can happen. I think particularly impressive, as you said, was Pascal Francois. Certainly to those of us who play in Europe, are Europe-based, not a name we know super well. Obviously, the French Canadians do, and he showed what a class act he is and what a great signing he is for the Montreal Nationals. He's someone to look out for going into the future weeks.
If you guys don't know what you're watching here, this is the Global Poker League. You can visit www.globalpokerleague.com to get a lot of information about what this project is all about. You can follow the conversation at GPL. A lot of people are talking about this whole thing and what we're doing. But right now, I think we're going to head to that 3rd match. Olivier Busquet trying to take 2 of 3 from the former main event and 1-drop winner. Any second now. Just fall into my eyes, and we will get to the match.
Olivier Busquet just taking a moment to rejoin us. Obviously, one of the nice features of that match was that we had Busquet back on the webcam. He's such an insightful guy, talking us through his strategies. Perhaps a little thrown off by Jonathan Duhamel, suggesting that Duhamel was perhaps making things up on the fly, which I think was possibly accurate. But certainly, if you play close attention to these matches with the top names that we have, Busquet being one of them, you can pick up a lot of strategy information and ideas to take into your own game if you're a poker player. And as a poker fan, it's just a new way to follow along with the action, where you get that extra insight into the thought processes of these big names.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see also, of course, the insight into the homes. We've seen a bunch of different.
Why do you always say this, by the way? Into the home.
Into the homes. We get a little into their homes.
What do we learn about Busquet's home here, bruv?
I don't know that he's.
I mean, a lot of them actually do have a nice painting in the background.
Here we go again.
So we're back with the third match in this contest. You can see in the bottom left-hand of your screen, Olivier Busquet won the first match. Duhamel the second.
Let's bet this hand. See how John's going to play.
And of course, for all we've hyped up Olivier Busquet's heads-up skills, Jonathan Duhamel 1 match away from having a 2-1 victory over Busquet. It's not a conventional best-of-3 situation. 3 points are up for grabs each individual match, but it would be great for Duhamel to have bragging rights over one of the stars of the LA Sunset. Busquet taking 9 high and checking it back on the flop and the turn. And now Duhamel leads the river. You would imagine he would have an easy fold.
I'm not really revving much, but
I spoke too soon.
I like this play.
He's going to get called here. Jonathan Duhamel obviously rivering a straight.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. We're going to get that handful.
And that part of his range, obviously loving life. Going into an early lead in the
main
third
hand
match.
I was trying to rep. I also just thought he had some middling hand and or bluff, and that he just wouldn't expect me to be bluffing in that spot. But I'm not going to get him to fold straight.
Busquet sticking with the 2.5x opens.
I want to get 2 streets of value. I think betting the flop and checking the turn is best. I would sometimes check back on the flop, but I think there's a lot of hands you can float with.
Could potentially check raise this hand as well, Jonathan Duhamel. I think that's
that depending on the run
what
out.
he's tanking
Extract value
about.
from.
Not a hand you'd expect
Whether
him
they
to
bluff
fold.
or whether they call.
Oh, he does fold. I'm completely wrong. So a big flop here for Jonathan Duhamel. The gut shot and nut flush draw, but no action. Obviously, that's one of the ways variance manifests itself. When you make a big hand, you need your opponent to have something slightly worse.
So I have the king of diamonds, so I'll bet this one.
So, of course, we can see not a combination Jonathan Duhamel is going to be folding. Gut shot to the 6-high straight, backdoor diamonds, and obviously ace-high could and is the best hand. But Duhamel elects to check raise with it. Not super sure about that strategy. Guess he can get a lot of Busquet's range to fold on the turn or river. A lot of worse hands, that is. A lot of better hands, rather. But check raising on the flop, hard to get better hands to fold, I would imagine. Duhamel spiking third pair, and Busquet second pair, picking up a straight draw as well.
Interesting bet sizing with the third pair here. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think on such a dynamic board with potential full flush out there, you need to be betting big with your entire range that you choose to bet, but it might mean that you don't want to bet a hand like Queen 7.
Right.
And strange river card. And interesting, Busquet doesn't immediately check back. Considers even taking this relatively strong hand and turning it into a bluff. Recognizing, I guess, that Duhamel bets all his strong flushes on the river when he has the betting lead. Really astute play from Olivier Busquet. In this instance, he's actually bluffing with the best hands. Amazing stuff to see. Busquet maybe thinks he got Duhamel to fold a better 9 or a jack.
Suited. Interesting.
Yeah, indeed, this is going to be interesting.
Oof. Oh. Just bet again so I don't have to bluff and get called by you later. I mean, now I have to bluff. It's like, for sure getting called, right? And the 10 is just, I just can't. I don't know. I just think he has a king a bunch, and he's not folding it.
Olivier Busquet knowing exactly where he is in the hand. The question is, will Duhamel call here with his second pair? The way the boards run out, there's not too many bluffs that Busquet can have. 5-4 and 8-5 are two of them. The flush draw came in, 9-10, 8-9 rivered a straight.
And it's just, I don't know. It's so hard for me to just check that hand. I just, yeah. Sometimes you just get a sense for like just the way a guy plays, you know? Oh, man, I'm getting crushed. Ugh.
This is what we
Feels
saw.
bad, man.
This is what we saw with Phil Galfond, of course, earlier. You know, Phil, again, instinctively felt like he was beat in that last big hand against Jason Mercier. But these guys have spent so much time working on their ranges, what to do with certain hands that they arrive at turns and rivers with, that it's hard for them sometimes to just go with their guts.
Yeah.
And they've made so much money, of course, playing these precisely worked out and thought through ranges.
Check. Okay. Maybe he'll call me with his high. Fair enough. Good in. It's probably the same way I would have played that hand. No, actually, I would have bet the river with his hand. Interesting. He checked the river. I didn't even think about that. He checked the river too. Check the flop, sure. Check the turn when the jack pairs, okay. Check the river means that you really think I'm going to bluff a bunch. You think I'm going to bluff more often than you think I'm going to call you light. You're probably right about that, actually.
Duhamel defending with the ace deuce off.
Nice card.
I'd say so.
Just hoping you would bet. Try to sneak in a raise there. Don't raise.
Duhamel making another disciplined fold. And called at the right moment and folded at the right moment. And has Olivier Busquet 2-1 in chips. And for all we've hyped Olivier Busquet's heads-up ability, Jonathan Duhamel has to be the favourite to win this third match, secure a further 3 points for the Moneymakers.
Let's get in. Have something, John. Do something.
It's always nice to see the weapons.
Oh, mate, such a good feeling.
Yeah.
I think Griff and Sam are probably crushing me on that hand right now.
We would do no such thing.
Why is he raising with 9 high there? It's not repping anything. What's wrong with this guy? He's probably tilting after the second game.
Why are we even here? Just take over. For those unaware, obviously Olivier, you know, the history he has with the WPT, covering the Alpha 8, you know, also a great commentator. I mean, pretty much anything that you and I might be even remotely good at, he's probably better.
I'm pretty good at MMA fighting. I don't know.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I saw this image of you in this really like posh sort of like MMA league, slapping only.
Loads of English literature grads
Yeah.
battling it out on the mat, pummeling each other over their heads with copies of Tolstoy.
Oh, look at that! He's moved his glasses down his face. He looks angry.
Oh dear.
Interesting.
Just like the most popular guy has just like the Harry Potter scar, you know.
Oh, man.
This is interesting.
Good card.
Spikes a straight on the turn. Duhamel Everything. Duhamel, second pair, flush draw, gut shot. Olivier Busquet with the
All right,
made
lead
straight.
and don't have a flush or 9-10 because I'm going to raise and try to get all the money in on the river. All right. So, I think this is the best way to play this hand against this guy because I think his leads are more value heavy. But, you know, I don't know.
Busquet raising the made straight. And I don't think with this holding we're going to see a shove from Duhamel, but he does have a lot of equity, even against a hand as strong as a made straight. He could, of course, hit a 9
If he
or
just
a
calls
heart.
and I get a safe card, I might pull a Marchese, except I have a good hand. I wanted to pull a Marchese with a bad hand, but this might be a good spot for it.
Duhamel deep into the tank.
I might not have the best hand, though. That's part of the problem. Maybe it's a weird spot to do when you're potentially value betting into a better hand.
Thing that's going through Duhamel.
Oh, not the result I wanted.
Yeah, good fold. I think what goes through Duhamel's mind is his
He
heart
had
good?
ace 6 when he did that. I mean, I guess he's raising because of my bet size. Like if I bet smaller, he might just call. But that is so unorthodox, right, guys? That's what we're saying.
The metaphor
That's
of
so
choice, the euphemism of choice, I should say.
Ace 6. And the ace of diamonds too. I'm glad I didn't call him. Like, come diamond. That would have been silly.
Obviously, a real treat for poker fans. Olivier Busquet sharing all his insights into the world of heads up, battling out against main event champion Jonathan Duhamel of the Las Vegas Moneymakers.
I keep bluffing him in spots where I have the best hand. What's wrong with me? Oh, yeah, I did have the best hand here. God, again, I had the best hand there. And I tried to bluff it. I'm like such a fish. He's probably not folding any actual better hands.
You
Check.
heard it here
There's
first,
an ace.
ladies and
Just
gentlemen.
check.
Olivier Busquet, fish.
Sweet.
And Jonathan Duhamel still
2-4 offsuit.
Busquet 2-1. Wonder if Jonathan folds this hand.
You got it.
Bit harder to open hands like that when you have a 2.5 or a 3x opening strategy. Obviously, if you're min raising, you can open more hands.
I would have been sick if he
profitably.
called with Queen 7 there, and my bluff ended up being a value bet. Okay, I think this I need to call. I mean, like, I don't really normally lead, right? But since both his leads have been value, he might, like, associate leading with value.
Busquet showing he is willing to make that kind of live
I've seen
player
people do this. They, like,
adjustment.
project the way that they play onto others in certain situations.
Yeah, really interesting insight there.
Oh, just fold, man. No, he didn't fold. And this terrible card came. Terrible card. I don't know how to play leads. I don't lead. You know.
Busquet now having a little bit of
Pulled
fun.
me into your game, John. Now I'm lost. Especially with the stupid card. It could have just come a 7. Made my life a lot easier. Okay, fine.
Duhamel should attack now. I'm not just saying that because of his actual hand. I mean, if I was doing it on his actual hand, he should check down and win. But That 5, very good for Duhamel's range. Has probably one of the worst hands he calls the flop with. You'd expect to see a bet. But I think he's a little bit confused because, as Olivier said himself, he hasn't really been leading into the pre-flop.
In my younger days, I would have check raised this turn bet. Whoa. Yeah, okay. It's just you and you're too good.
Interesting to see Olivier actually impressed with the way John is playing. He's really giving him credit for being a tough opponent.
Stick to what you know, buddy.
Yeah, so interesting insight there. I hope you guys caught that. Olivier was saying some players project onto their opponents their own strategy. So because Jonathan leads with strong hands,
check it, John.
Busquet was hoping that he would then read Olivier's lead as strength.
You just nutted here, or you just have like 9-10 suited or something?
Good call. Good.
It's so small. Unless you're sucking me in here. Well, I'm just gonna give this to you. It's pretty annoying.
Great flop for Jonathan Duhamel. And he's going to have an easy continuation back. This is actually a double gut shot for Busquet. I think I'm right in saying. Looks like a board that Duhamel smashed, but Busquet does have a significant piece of it. Against some of the hands Duhamel's going to have here, he's going to have a lot of outs, not against this one. And Busquet, recognizing Duhamel, checks back most of his 6x. If Duhamel had a 6, he would be checking the flop. So Busquet thinks that's a better card for him. He's going to have more 6s, so he's turning this 7 high into a bluff.
I wouldn't be surprised if he calls one. The question is he going to call both?
Leading into him with a big bet.
The problem is that he probably puts me on a number of missed gut shots. Even though I don't actually call that many gut shots. Oh. Too good of a card.
Yeah. Busquet going for it. And now a big decision for Jonathan Duhamel. If he calls here, he will win the third match, a further 3 points for the Moneymakers.
I actually think he's going to call a little bit light here.
If he folds, Olivier Busquet comes closer to evening up the match. Big moment.
This is overall a good play. Okay.
And Duhamel folds. I think he... You know Duhamel better than I. Do you think... Well, let's just see how he plays the aces, Busquet first. Big moment there in the match.
Okay.
Duhamel does flop a little piece. And Duhamel, savvy fold there, yeah, Griff? Flopping a pair heads up and just releasing it onto the flop. I don't think we've actually seen much of that from Duhamel. Really,
yeah, that was cool.
Really showing those poker instincts that made him millions in the game.
Hopefully you don't have a calling hand.
Blinds will be up to 1-2 in a second.
Oh, you have a hand that
just
you're not
100
sure
can't
about.
play.
Interesting, these guys that really know heads-up strategy actually do pick these low-suited connectors as part of their shoving range, realizing that the hands they trap with are often just high-card hands, or they got some strong equity with the suited low connectors. We've seen that a few times. Dominic Nietzsche employed the same strategy, and all in for Duhamel, getting a pair heads up.
1K, 2K. Oh, you folded 10-8. That's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting spot. Oh, all right, you check this back. That's pretty odd that you check this back. It's a flop that so significantly favors you. It makes me think you have king high. I don't know. Maybe I can steal this pot on the river. Maybe you're doing some weird check back with an actual hand, though. I don't know. All right, you got it, buddy. Go for it. Oh. No.
And outflopped by Duhamel here.
No. Never falling for my traps. Good card.
Yeah, very strong card for Olivier Busquet's range and, of course, for his actual hand. Duhamel, though, of course, does have a gut shot now to go with his second pair.
Whoa. I'm going to be so perplexed if he bets again. But I just can't imagine myself folding, you know? All right, so he checked. I hope you're not trying something fancy, John.
Probably going to see a very small value bet, small sizing value bet from Busquet here. Wow, I'm completely wrong. There we go. Why didn't you say 12K?
Because it wasn't 12K. I would have said 12.5. That would have been funny if I'd said 12.
I mean, what bluffs do you think? I mean, Busquet obviously knows, but what bluffs do you think he constructs his range around there? Like, what does he check back?
I don't think yeah, I don't think he can really have a bluff. It's weird. Maybe king queen.
I mean,
if he thinks that John has like has an 8.
Yeah.
3-4
jack,
suited.
queen jack.
Yeah, maybe. I guess it's because John's capped, so he can like turn hands into a bluff and go for a maximum sizing to pressure his range and force him to overfold. But really interesting.
Okay. Just check it back, man. You have king jack and you're just gonna win a showdown. Oh man, can I go for value here? Can I go for value here? And he only has 2.5 minutes on his clock. Man, I wonder if he's trying to get to the bigger blinds.
I think you're going to see Duhamel.
Oh man, don't bet.
Bet here.
Oh, that sucks.
Makes a lot of sense that he would have a 6 there.
Don't like that. Not a fan. Okay, so what are we playing? Yeah, this is just an all-in. 15, 16 bigs, 15 and a half, something, whatever, with the antes. I always got to adjust for these antes. I'm not used to playing with antes. King 6.
Different lines Duhamel could take here. He could shove. He could limp call.
Okay, you got it. It's see a flop.
I think the way Busquet plays, he's not really a all-in kind of guy. So I think shoving is better against him in particular. I would imagine.
Because when it's
And
Oh,
he's
he had 6-9.
so comfortable playing post as well.
Olivier
It's a big bet on
discovering the
turn,
hands.
Or he had 9-7. I am the one with 6-9. Yeah, good hand. I set myself up for that one. I should have just check called. The turn would have favored me, and I would have won the pot. Instead, I played like an idiot. Okay. Is there a chance King High is good here?
Just check the board.
There's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Man, he's down to like a minute 30. He keeps betting these rivers.
What does he have, a deuce?
I mean, the blinds are so big, it probably won't matter.
And Busquet flopping a gut shot on a board that favours his range considerably. But Duhamel does have a piece on this occasion. Probably obligated to call a bet. So hard to win on a texture that so significantly favours Busquet. And actually Duhamel makes a tight fold. And it's almost like he's sort of a little bit intimidated by Busquet there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like against, there's so many opponents he would never fold there, I think.
Yeah.
On to a minute.
And so evenly matched here. Duhamel does have a slight chip advantage, but this is really anyone's game. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, Olivier Busquet winning the first match.
Maybe I'm going to try to play a little bit faster to really put pressure on him so he feels even more pressure to play.
Duhamel
because I can play super fast, man.
Duhamel actually 40 seconds away from being on the hot seat, Griff. He's not going to be able to tank too long, especially if he has a big river decision or something like that.
Why let him think during my time, you know?
Will probably be a limp call if Olivier decides to shove. He opts to raise, which is he's going to regret, as I think John's going
Hopefully this is not your spot of lip jamming.
No, surely he's going to call with this kind of playable hand, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Man, what a weird flop.
How do you
I mean, it's not that weird, but...
Jonathan Duhamel has smashed this flop. Sure you don't need a commentator to tell you that. And this is not going to work. Why is he jammed? Sorry. What is that? Why did he shove?
To get to 69,000.
No, why did he shove there? Come on.
Giggity.
Why did he shove? He's got top pair. What's that?
He wants to get to fold kings.
I mean, I don't like that at all.
He repped a set.
Wow.
I played it like a set.
So Olivier Busquet employing the strategy of playing even quicker to put, because Duhamel isn't going to be able to think during his time bank. Can he fire again, Busquet? Think it would work. Oh, he's fuming.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to fold there. I don't know, actually.
I think he was. I hate to disagree with you, Mr. Busquet.
Not a call.
And Olivier Busquet, bang under it now. Jonathan Duhamel over a 3-1 chip advantage. The money's going to go all in here. And if Jonathan Duhamel can spike a 6, it will be a victory for him and the Moneymakers. Lot of interesting turn cards.
Uh-oh, big card. Queen ball.
7, a 6, or a deuce required by Duhamel.
All right. Let's go.
And
he's got 3 seconds.
That evens things up.
Oh, wow. Really on the hot seat, just about.
I feel like John's probably pretty good at playing fast, though, to be honest.
So just to reiterate, if Duhamel's time bank runs out, he's going to have a second and a half to make every decision. So Jonathan Duhamel having to act automatically here and not going to have time to make complex decisions.
Better be quick, John.
Yeah, and Busquet not letting him
Hot seat.
breathe. Absolutely not letting him breathe.
It's like in an MMA arena or something. It's just like
My sense is that when
he's got
people
him
have
on
to
the
play
ropes.
very fast, they're likely to go into like the default standard play. If they have a choice between two, like an aggressive and a passive play, they're going to choose the aggressive play because they're there we go.
Yeah.
Well, that just played itself.
Big
Good flop.
for Liv.
I mean, all but eliminated Duhamel unless he...
Oh,
turns.
Ay caramba.
Jack, king, queen.
Olivier Busquet calling a king on the
Oh,
river.
wow.
Wow, back and forth.
Wowzers.
Jonathan Duhamel back down to a
Sweet.
small blind.
It's not over, though. I played enough heads-up zingos to know that anyone can win if they have any chips remaining.
And 10-5 versus Queen
That was a
8.
pretty cool run-out, though. Queen high, ace, king. Gets the blood flow.
Busquet needing a 10, as you can see. Otherwise, Duhamel will double up to a blind and a half. Here in the third match between these two guys, and the last match of the day, Olivier Busquet having a significant chip advantage.
It was a fun match, though.
Put him on the ropes.
Okay.
Duhamel does flop some
Almost
equity.
there.
No.
Wow.
Nope.
6 for a chop.
Don't do this to me. Don't do it. Don't. 7,200. That's enough. That's enough.
And Duhamel has 2.5 big blinds. I'll tell you what, Busquet wants to win this one. He really does want to win this one.
All right. Deuces.
It's the classic coin flip. Pocket twos
Okay.
versus 6-9 off. 7 on the turn. Guaranteed 7 of spades.
7 of
Here it
spades, yeah. 8 of spades, 7 of spades. Badonk.
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
Queen Jack 6 or 9 for the Frenchman. Doesn't get there.
Woohoo!
Busquet will take 2 of 3 from the money.
Good game, John.
Shipped by Olivier Busquet, having beaten Darren Elias 2-1. He now defeats Jonathan Duhamel 2-1. Another 6 points for the LA Sunset.
Yeah, LA Sunset, we've talked about such a strong team with the foundation, obviously, of Feder Holtz, Maria Ho, Olivier Busquet, and he's really the guy they're going to throw up in those heads-up matches. He proved it again today, why he's won 4 of 6 now in his matches in heads-up, and yeah, just a great 6 more points for Maria Ho and her team.
Yeah, I think Maria's obviously picked Olivier because of his heads-up background, and I think also possibly a strategic option for Maria to put Olivier in up front. Not only does it give her some momentum and points on the board for the LA Sunset, but she can say to the rest of her team, okay, watch Olivier play, and then they're going to be able to study these tapes of Olivier play, and he's going to be able to talk them through the decision-making process that he utilizes, the ranges he deploys, push-fold charts, and the like that he's worked on, that he's honed to perfection. And I think you're going to see strong performances not only from Busquet through the 6 matches he's obligated to play, but you're going to see strong performances also from Maria Ho, who's probably already a very good player, and now she can call on the expertise of Olivier Busquet, the heads-up expert.
Yeah, Duhamel obviously not getting the result he wanted, only the 3 points. He was just 1 card away from securing 6, and that's just the nature of poker. Again, the discrepancies between the quality of players is never going to be that huge. But it was another long day, another long week here at the GPL, and so many interesting things to talk about. We do have an interview coming up with the superstar known as Olivier Busquet. Just give us a minute on that. But I'm excited to hear what he has to say, what his thoughts about how the way Jonathan was playing.
Yeah, of course. Olivier is someone who's not afraid to be vocal, criticizing other players as well, talking about their mistakes and their leaks. He's a true competitor. He knows the game intricately. He knows this particular format better than almost anyone. And he's also, let's be honest, a very frank and open guy when, he sees people making mistakes or sees things he doesn't like. So, yeah, a great person for Laura to be able to interview in a moment.
So we're going to head there right now.
Hello and welcome back. What an amazing last 5 minutes of that game. It just went back and forth, back and forth. I didn't know who was going to win.
Yeah, and Jonathan being on the hot seat didn't help his cause at all. But I think at that moment, it was what it was, right? That match was going to happen that way anyway. So a crazy end to the match, crazy end to the week, and we wouldn't want anything other than that.
I'm sure Maria will be very happy. Shall we see if we have Olivier Busquet behind me on the wall. He's not there yet. He's almost there. I can't handle it. The suspense is too much. There he is. Congratulations, Olivier, and congratulations
I
to
can't
LA
hear you.
Sunset. You happy to take that one down? Can you hear us? Olivier, do you hear us?
Yes,
You do. Congratulations on winning their 2 games to 1.
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your thought process during those 3 matches.
Well, you know, I knew John was going to come up with some sort of strategy to combat my greater experience in the format. So I sensed relatively early on he was going to try to make it more of a pre-flop 4. I ended up getting some pretty big hands when he bet a couple times, so my decisions were easy. And then after that, I just was kind of trying to see what he was up to in certain spots. As I rewatched the games, I see that I made a few mistakes. Overall, I felt like I played decently and was lucky to win that last hand and tip it 2-1 in my favor instead of his favor.
Olivier, you mentioned a few times that you saw Jonathan do maybe a few unconventional moves, but isn't that playing someone of your caliber when it comes to online heads-up matches, isn't that actually a smart strategy to try to trick you, or do you just think that there might have been missteps from someone that doesn't have the experience that you have playing those types of matches?
You know, I think that's a good point. I think within this context, when we're only playing a couple of games, then yeah, trying out of the box things does have some extra value. If you're playing like against someone online that you're going to be playing over again, I think it's pretty tough because people will start to pick up on things that you do. But I think overall, John played really well. You know, he's obviously a very good thinker and approaches his hands really well. I just have a little bit of an advantage because I've played over 1,000 of games,
right.
And he's probably played less than 1,000.
Were you more nervous about playing this match than you are about your boxing match next week?
No. My MMA fight is something that I have no experience in, so I'm probably going to be a lot more anxious. But I think odds of winning are much higher in my fight than they were in this match.
Olivier, earlier this week, Maria Ho announcing that herself would become the first wildcard pick for the LA Sunset, and that Aaron Paul will be your new teammate. Has there been schedules of Olivier teaching Aaron Paul how to play some heads-up poker?
We haven't made any like official schedule to work with Aaron. I was actually just thinking about that, how that's going to work. Obviously, we're probably excited about it. I know Aaron really likes poker. He actually used to play heads-up goes on full tilt a few years ago when I was playing heads-up goes on full tilt too. So yeah, I'm excited to work with Aaron. I'm sure he will take to poker very quickly. Yeah, it's going to be great to have him on.
Has there been much chatting between you and the other teammates on LA Sunset as well, sort of team talks, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we spoke a bunch kind of in preparation for the beginning, you know, before last week to kind of get our ducks in a row, see whose schedule was where, who was going to play in the beginning, and how we were going to approach the rest of the season. I really like the dynamic of the guys that we have on the team. I think Maria is obviously a great player, but also has some really unique skills in terms of being a manager. I think she is able to really think within this specific context, who will work best in formats. Obviously, it was through her connections that we were even able to approach and talk to Aaron. So yeah, I think Maria's great, and obviously the rest of our team is super talented. So yeah, we're keeping in touch, kind of trading notes and trying to help each other put ourselves in the best positions to play our best.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, and we hope to catch you very, very soon playing another match on the GPL. Thanks,
All right,
Olivier.
thanks so much. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Olivier Busquet there for LA Sunset, who are now up to 3rd place in our standings for the Americas Conference. We're going to head back to the desk now, though, and go through a few key hands.
Thanks, Eric, Laura, and Olivier. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. We are now at the end of day 6 of the Global Poker League. But there was one hand in particular over the course of this match.
Should I just do this for you, bro?
What happened? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Jeez. There was one hand during this match, of course. It was in game 1 that obviously, we were talking a lot about theory-based stuff about Olivier Busquet. And this was one particular hand where he used the blocker in his hand, knew the kind of range that was being valued at. Let's take a look.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as fast as this structure is, there are significant skill differences between a variety of opponents. And this hand we're looking at, particularly because this is just where Olivier Busquet shows his class. Defends with the 10-deuce suited, pretty standard. That's something we've been seeing from a lot of players. And he flops bottom pair, and he's got a variety of backdoors. Obviously, versus a C-bet, he's going to check call, which he does. Duhamel, a big turn for him. C-bet the queen 7 high, just hoping for a fold, and spikes a queen on the turn. Great stuff for him. He's loving life, and now he can bet for value.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It seems like it's going to be such a difficult hand for Olivier to win, especially when this is the river. But Olivier recognizing this is the way to get it done, and really, really fun to watch on the river here.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, he doesn't actually bet for value. He checks back, and I think what Olivier feels is that when Duhamel checks back an overcard to the jack, it suggests that he's got something he can show down. Normally, that's not going to be a queen. That's going to be a strong jack, which now he's going to value bet on the river. If he checks back some queen X as well, which he has done, the queen 7, he can bet that on the river. The deuce doesn't really beat anything. So what do most players do here? They fold, but Olivier Busquet, because he has more 8s in his range and does check some of them on the river, because he has 9-10 in his range and Duhamel doesn't have that in his range, he can check shove this river and put Duhamel in a terrible spot.
Yeah, just brilliant top-class stuff from Olivier Busquet. He's really had the opportunity over the course of these 2 heads-up matches to really flex his one-on-one muscles, winning 4 of a possible 6 matches, which of course is 12 of a possible 18 points for the LA Sunset. Just been a real star so far for the Hollywood team.
Yeah, and Duhamel using his time bank. Obviously, for some of you guys at home, you're going to think, well, top pair, what's he thinking about or what have you? But, the queen is sort of irrelevant. Olivier Busquet is either doing this as a bluff or he's doing it with a hand that beats the queen X. He doesn't block any of the straights and he is forced to make the fold. And that was a significant shift back in Busquet's favor after Jonathan Duhamel had won that big flip, king, queen, 2 jacks.
Yeah, and there's a lot of action, obviously, today. There were 2 sweeps, so Nanonoko getting a little company in that department. Of course, Pascal Lefrançois of the Montreal Nationals really helping them pull away in that division. But you know who's going to tell you all about that? Eric Danny. I'm Griffin Benger. He's Sam Grafton. We'll see you guys next week.
Oh, that's it for Griffin and Sam this week. Isn't that sad?
it's sad for
Sounded
the
a bit
rest of the world. Yes.
sarcastic, didn't it? I didn't mean to do that. Well, epic ends to an epic week.
That's right. And wrapping up, I guess, a great week 2 and week 3 is what I'm looking at, Laura, with some of the big names that should make their debuts next week. San Francisco already tweeting out that Faraz Jaka and Jonathan Jaffe will be part of the roster. I've heard that Brian Rast is going to make an appearance next week.
Yes,
You've heard
indeed.
Max Pescatore making his debut, his managerial debut.
It seems it's going to be the week for the managers next
That's
week.
right.
We spoke about
got
it
a few.
already, but it would be cool as well if we could get all the managers playing at one time, maybe.
Yeah,
make that happen, perhaps.
We should try to push them to do that. That'd be great.
Yeah, we should. Right, let's take a look now at the Americas Conference standings after those 3 matches today. So, as we said, we knew it already. Montreal Nationals couldn't be beaten. They still stay at the top with 29 points. New York Rounders, though, epic today, 9 points.
Yeah, playing a great matchup in New York now in perfect position at 25 points. The Sunset, another 6 points. That's 12 points in 2 weeks for Olivier Busquet. He's going to go up in those top scorers for next
along
week's
with Dominic
rankings.
Nietzsche.
So yeah, 12 points. Half the points have come from Busquet. That team should have more points right now. We've talked about Fedor Holz probably disappointed with a third, a fourth, and a fifth so far this season. He's probably expecting way more from himself, so it'll be intriguing to take a look. I think the LA Sunset is still the team to beat. They're in prime position to just gain points in the next few weeks. And then we see the rest of those teams out there. Sao Paulo, by the way, in rough shape right now. Things are not good in Sao Paulo. Andrea Kari's going to have to kick some butts.
Yeah, let's take a look now at the Eurasia Conference standings. So we watched the heads-up matches from Eurasia yesterday. Paris Aviators flying, I will say it again.
Doing great. The Hong Kong Stars headed into this week as the top team. Although last week after the Six Max events, Paris was first, so they were lurking right underneath the Stars. Now they're above the Stars. See that little joke, Laura. So Paris sits at 30 points, 23 points for Hong Kong. London at 19 points, tied with Moscow. Berlin at 18. Roma, the only team in the Eurasian Conference without a win yet. By the way, next week in heads-up play, still don't know the names, Paris versus London in prime time, 8:30 Central European time, which would mean 9:30, or would it mean 7:30 in Britain?
It's far too late to ask me questions like that.
Laura's from there, she doesn't know that. So anyway, London and Paris in prime time next week. Both managers are being very
we don't know who's playing
coy
yet.
about their picks.
We're going to find out soon, though.
By the way, we do know that Paris has that advantage, and Fabrice Soulier has already told us he has not given us his pick until he sees who Liv Boré is putting up. So it'll be a big strategy match and tons of pressure. All the eyes of the poker world will be on London versus Paris next Wednesday.
Indeedy. So we hope you have enjoyed all of the matches we've showed today from the Americas Heads-Up Conference, also from the Eurasian Conference yesterday, and of course from both in the Six Max on Tuesday. We will be back here again on Tuesday. We will be back for the first match. We'll be kicking off, of course, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, Tuesday's the Six Max, Wednesday's the Eurasian Heads Up, and Thursday's the Americas Heads Up. So join us back then, and we hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Can't get enough of the GPL? Head over to globalpokerleague.com for the most complete and up-to-date standings, schedule, stats, and information on your favorite team, as well as full-length match replays, highlights, and epic hands from all of our matches, and much, much more.